Hi, everyone. Welcome to Raven's Real Talk. The discussion for today will be about manners and etiquette. And what we will be delving deep into is the type of manners and etiquettes that were taught to us, the importance of manners and etiquettes, whether we use manners and etiquettes to judge people, and if they're important to us in interpersonal relationships, some of the manners and etiquettes that we think are absolutely essential in our interactions with people. And it's a good time to also reflect on our own manners and etiquettes that we might not be so proud of, that we're trying to work on ourselves. And if we think manners and etiquettes are dissipating in our society, just things like that. So it's going to be a really exciting discussion. I'm really excited to talk about this with my three scrumptious friends, my three scrumptious guests. And ultimately, the purpose of the talk is to not only share our own experiences with our manners and etiquettes that we've learned along the way and what we've experienced in our own personal, interpersonal relationships, but it's also to create awareness and to educate ourselves and others about the manners and etiquettes that we practice in our own interpersonal relationships or that exist within our circles, and to reflect on ourselves and hopefully improve our life and improve ourselves as people through introspection and self-reflection. So that's the ultimate goal of these talks, all these talks that I do. And if you are new here, Raven's Real Talk is a talk show that I created on my channel for that exact purpose that I just said. And I just wanted to create a space where we could have these discussions where we get super real, super raw, and talk about things that a lot of people consider taboo or are not consider not important, but they are quite important. And yeah, just a place where I can have these discussions with people who are able to be raw and real and genuine. And I'm so fortunate that all the guests that I've had so far have been so real and so willing to just share their experiences for the purposes of, growing into better people and creating awareness and sharing their experiences. So it's pretty awesome. All right, guys, without further ado, I would like to introduce my scrumptious guests. All right, without further ado, the first person I had the pleasure of meeting a very long time ago, guys. It's been more than a year that I've known this person, which is crazy. I had the pleasure of meeting her in real life. At TwitchCon, we hung out together, not as much as I would have liked, and we also got to sing karaoke together. I got to watch her host the Twitch Sings booth. I did hug her as well. Yes, I did, multiple times. Please help me welcome the scrumptious Fell. Oh my god, that's wrong. 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 Oh my god, what's going on? Hold on. Guys, it's my tech. I swear oh my god, this is so bad. Of course, the one that Fell's on has the most tech issues. Sorry. Hold on. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of this, bro. Oh my god. Hold on, I'm getting it. Oh my god, there you go. Hi, Phil. Oh my god.
Hi, everyone. It's really good to be here. Thank you so much for having us here. That was flawless, by the way. Flawless.
Yes. Edit. Flawless. Yes. Thank you, Phil.
But as you guys know, I am Felicity. For anyone who doesn't know, I am the host of a duet competition on Twitch Sings called Dare to Duet. Apart from that, I also stream on Twitch. I've been streaming a variety of different things. I don't really have a main thing right now. It's just kind of whatever I feel like. But I'm very excited to be here today and to talk about manners and etiquettes. And I think we're gonna have some really good discussion.
I think so too. Oh, and Fel has just created a girl squad. Is that what it's called? I think it's called Girl Squad. Do you want to just tell a little bit about that one?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know about you, but for me at least, my time online has been. I think I've made so many friends with guys online because that's the majority of the population that you see who's playing games, and I've always wanted more females to game with because it's just a different dynamic. So I created this community for girl gamers. At first it was just for Among Us, but I think that it's more of a place for just all female gamers to get together and just play whatever they want. So if there's anyone that's interested, please feel free to DM me and I'll send you that link.
Among Us is super sus. Oh god. Thank you so much for being here, Fel. I know you have a very busy schedule, so thank you for including me in your schedule. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. And thank you for asking me to be a part of this.
Yay,
really excited.
So this is like super exciting. Y'all don't understand. Okay, that's where all the tech issues are coming from. It's the excitement, okay? The next person I would like to introduce you all to is someone I met through Twitch Sings as well. Yo, Twitch Sings has brought so many people together. It's crazy. Like the next person, actually all three of you I've met through Twitch Sings. Fell more through the Dare to Duet competition, but I guess the premise of the Dare to Duet competition was like Twitch Sings, right? So Twitch Sings, baby. She has a scrumptious voice. I don't think I got to tell her this, but I'm gonna tell her right now. You have a very scrumptious smiles. I have this thing about smiles. I think all three of my guests right now have like very nice smiles, and smiles are just one of those things that it's either you have it or you don't, because there's some people who are so frowny all the time, and like you don't want to be around people like that, right? But all of my guests have really amazing smiles, and please help me welcome, I'm gonna get this right, Scooter Lee. Oh my god, I did it. Hi. Oh wait, something's happening. Hold on.
What's happening?
There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, you're here.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on, Raven.
Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for being so patient with all these tech issues. I'm so sorry. Really am.
You saw me have almost 30 minutes of audio problems. It's fine.
Thank you for being here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I am Scooter Lee. You can just call me Lee or Scoots or Hey You or whatever. So I am a baby streamer. I've only been streaming for a couple months now.
That's crazy.
I'm one of the folks that I'm sure like many people are like, oh, stuck in my house. Better make internet friends. So that's what I started doing. I got introduced to Twitch Sings by my friend Almost Potter, who we know and love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? Eh? Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, he is my real life friend. His girlfriend has been my best friend since kindergarten. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I learned something new.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still meeting people, and I just do Twitch Sing streaming, and hopefully maybe going to break out into different music endeavors in the future. We'll see.
Do you play instruments, or is that something that
I do?
Okay.
I play the ukulele, the piano, the drums, the voice.
The voice.
And now I'm like, I should learn guitar. I'm approximately good at a large number of things, I guess. So
That's so impressive. Oh my god, thank you so much for being here, and I wish you so much success in your like new chapter in your life, which is a streaming chapter. It's very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
You're
Happy to be
welcome.
here.
Yay.
Excited to meet you.
Thank you. And last but not least, I'm gonna get this right, Artie. I'm gonna do it for you, baby, okay? This scrumptious guest, okay, I met through Twitch Sings as well. She also has very scrumptious voice also. All of these three have a scrumptious voice. Y'all have a lot in common. And a scrumptious smile. And she's just wonderful. Like, every time I stop by her stream, she's so welcoming, so kind, and she's so supportive all the time. All three of these people are. Please do give them a follow if you haven't already. Hold on. Look at me. Look at this. I did oh, it's not working. Bruh. Hold on. I was so proud of myself. I don't know why it's not working. Sorry, guys. Give me like 2 seconds. Hold on. I
Crowdsource it.
Created this. It's because I didn't checkbox it. Okay. Now it's going to work. Please. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. For your convenience, I have created links right there for all three of them. Boom, boom, boom. Please show them that good loving and help me welcome my scrumptious friend, Artie. Yes! Hi, Artie.
There we go. Sorry.
Hi.
Oh, yeah,
Artie
that's what I was
loves
supposed to do.
introductions.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm so bad at them. But I'm Artie the Wolf. Hi. Hi. I give warm hugs.
Which I haven't had the pleasure of having yet.
Yes, maybe someday,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to meet everybody IRL. That's the like kind of like one of the sad parts about Twitch Sings is that I won't be able to sing with y'all on Twitch Sings IRL, but that's okay. You know. But I'm a Twitch Sing streamer mostly. I just started branching out into more games. Been streaming Jackbox. I just started playing Sea of Thieves. I died last night really bad. Megalodon bit the piss out of my ship. It was terrible. I was so sad. I had got all this loot, all this booty, as they say in pirate terms, and lost it because the shark just came and just chomp, and then the ship went, and then it was just oof, and it was done. I was like, oh,
really? You lose
yes,
everything?
yes,
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Oh my goodness gracious.
yeah. We had just beat a big boss too, but I'm not gonna get too derailed with it. But
That hurts my spirit for you. I feel you.
yeah,
I do. Because
but
that's like
yeah.
plasmophobia or whatever that game is, right? Like
Oh
you lose
yeah.
all your items that you died with. Those are expensive. Ghost hunting is expensive, guys. It's very
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah. So I feel you. I really do.
But yeah, that's yeah, that's mainly that's mainly what I've been doing recently. It's just trying to branch out more and everything. I've met everyone here through Twitch Sings for the most part. That's actually what got me into streaming was Twitch Sings because I wanted to do karaoke at first, and I was doing like this acapella oki where I was just singing songs acapella that people would suggest. Like they were like, "Oh, I want you to hear you sing this song," and then I had a pitch pipe and I would blow into it, make sure I'm in the right key, and just sing the song. And I might get back into doing that a little bit more because that's still music and performing arts. So yeah, I was pretty cool.
And are you thinking about playing an instrument, or do you feel like the acapella is more you, like something you connect with more?
I would love to play the guitar, but I have what they call, well, I'm not going to downplay, but my fingers don't always listen. I'll rephrase it. I was going to say something else, but I'm going to rephrase it. But my fingers don't always listen to what I want them to do. So I know how to do the chords, but it's still difficult, but I am trying to learn.
I wish you luck on your journey. Yeah, that's amazing that you're still trying. I know a lot of people, like when they have something that might hold them back a little bit, they kind of give up, and there's no shame in giving up. It's perfectly normal, and it's okay to feel like, oh my god, this is too difficult for me to do, I just can't do it. But the fact that you're pushing through, like, that's pretty amazing. So good job, Artie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So before we actually dive deep into the topic of manners and etiquettes, let's start off with something more general of like defining it. So what are manners to you guys? What do you think manners mean? What are manners? Artie, do you want to start us off?
Sure. To me, manners is more of a mutual like level of respect for the person that you're talking to or the person that you interact with. It could be something as simple as, even if you're not having a great day personally, someone says good morning, you might say good morning in return, or, just be like, sup, or, whatever response you want to have. Yeah, a greeting of some sort. I think that that's a way of having a form of manners. For me personally, etiquette wise would be to, be honest and open about, how you want to be greeted too. Because some people don't like, being told, good morning, because that makes them assume or they feel obligated to have they feel obligated to have a good day even though they're not actually feeling like having a good day, and that's not your intention, but that's how it can be taken across sometimes depending on the person. I think that remembering that people are individuals is a good way to have good manners. Personally, that's like how I feel about it personally.
I like that. What about you, Phil?
I was mulling this over last night because just thinking about what is the definition of manners, because I feel like it's different for different situations and different contexts and things. So for me, I guess I was thinking like, okay, is it manners if you like Artie said, if someone says good morning and you say good morning back to them, I feel like a lot of things come so naturally to me that at times I don't even think of them as manners. I just think, oh, that's like a normal thing. But then when you think about it, there are people who don't do those things that we're so accustomed to. So I like what Artie said about it being a form of respect. And that's how I look at manners as well. It's just being respectful to the other person, whether it's you're asking them if they need help with something, or just returning their what do you call it? Like when they say good morning and just returning that
greeting,
level,
I guess, or yeah,
the greeting and things. And then etiquette, to me, this word is more formal, I guess. That's how I always think of it, you know, having good like table manners, etiquette. You're dining somewhere or somewhere fancy. Etiquette I wouldn't think of as something that's like if you're talking to your friends and maybe it is. That's just my like interpretation of it and my view on that word.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Lee?
Yeah. So I think that manners, they are a framework for humans to interact with each other, which is like the most computer person thing I could have said. But but it is. It's like it's this expected way of interacting with most people in society. It can be conscious or subconscious, but it is those like societal expectations. I think that etiquette, on the other hand, that might have to do more with select groups of people. Like when I think etiquette, I think like fancy dinner with 5 different forks. You know, what do you use all the forks for? But yeah, and I'll talk about cotillion at some point tonight, because that is a thing that I did, which was great.
That?
You know, it's manners class, basically. I thought this would be a good time to talk about it. Yeah.
This would be okay. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing that. I'm pretty much at like Lee and Fell when it comes to etiquettes. Like when I first think of etiquettes, I think it's very proper and like how you carry yourself, and it's being graceful and all of that. And when I first thought about etiquette, I was like, I guess I don't have very good etiquettes because I don't really carry myself in a graceful manner or anything like that. No one would look at me and be like, wow, she's like very well put together. You know what I mean? And that's what I think having good etiquettes are. And
I think you are, for the record.
Yeah, I think you are too.
What are you talking about?
I was like, what? I was like, okay.
Did you see the first 30 minutes of this video?
That doesn't mean anything though.
Also, I'd like to say watching that without the background music was a joy, and it was great.
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. We made our own memory, right, together. That was nice.
Right.
And for manners, yeah, I thought like, yeah, it's just like how do you interact with people. And when I Googled it, we're pretty much correct. So manners are how you make other people feel, and it's a person's outward way of behaving towards others. So we nailed the manners. For etiquettes, it's a little deeper than that, where it's the rules of society, and it's like a kind of like an unspoken customary code that what is considered polite behavior. So that's something that I didn't know, because that means everyone can and should have good etiquettes. So there's kind of like no excuse for people to have bad etiquettes, because it really is applicable to everybody. So what are some like basic manners and etiquettes that you guys were taught like growing up? I know for me there was a lot of, please, thank you, listen to your elders, don't back talk. There was a lot of like family dynamic type of manners that were taught to me that I feel like are not really existent these days. But I know when I was growing up, like, bro, I could never back talk to my parents. Are you kidding? No, still to this day, I'm 31. Bruh, last night my dad yelled at me for moving his shirt from the laundry room to the toilet because I hung it in the shower area because I'm like, it's dripping water. Let me just drip it over there instead. He like did it in such a like a DIY hack way. He put like a tub tilted this way and a tub leaning here to catch all the water. And I'm like, why are you just let me hang it in the thing? So I hung it for him and he like went off on me. Did I back talk? No, I was just like, I'm sorry, Baba. And that was the end of that. Okay, you don't talk back to parents, even if it don't make sense. Okay, it's just not what you do. Right? So I think those are the type of manners. And like, don't put your feet up on the chair. Don't cut your nails in public. Like, none of that garbage. Like, don't do that stuff. So
that's still a thing. Don't ever do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Wait, why would you though?
Artie, I have a story I'm gonna tell you later. It's disgusting, but it's
okay, cool.
Right? So like those are the types of manners and etiquettes that I was, and there's like all the list. Like my parents really drilled like lots of manners in me. Like don't talk too loudly, don't all this. So I have a list, but like, what about you guys? What about you, Scooter Lee? You want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, I was put into cotillion, so maybe I'll talk about that.
So
I was
why,
always,
if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know.
Okay.
Social skills, maybe.
So your parents just thought it would be a good idea for you to learn it like professionally, I guess.
I think so. Okay. I was always a pretty good kid. I'm an only child. Like I grew up in a retirement neighborhood, so there weren't any other, like besides being an only child, there weren't any other children for me to run around and get into trouble with. So I grew up pretty quickly, and like, you know, I'd rather sit quietly and read a book than run around screaming.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know why my parents, I guess they were just like, there are children there, go have fun with the other children. But that was where you learn like dancing that is not applicable to most places. It's not like club dancing. It's like the foxtrot, the waltz, other dances that I remember. And other things like all the forks. What do you use all the forks for? Here's how to be a lady. It was
Did you have to do the book thing, or is that like movies?
Oh, we didn't have to do the book thing.
Good.
We didn't have to learn embroidery. It wasn't like it wasn't like that kind of school.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been 5 feet tall since I was like I'm 5'8" now, in feet and inches. But I was a giant as a child, so like dancing with boys my age who were like a full foot shorter than me, that was challenging. I'm sure I put the fear of, you know, a celestial being in them. But so tall. My mom is also an attorney that worked from home, and so whenever I answered the phone, she said, "You can't just say hello, because this is my place of work. You need to interact with everyone as as an adult." And so I answered the phone from like age 5. "Hello, this is Lee. How may I help you?"
Oh wow. Do you still do that? Do you answer your phone like that? Or is that like a habit? Okay.
I mean, I always say who I am, because I don't know, it sets up the phone conversation for better success, I think. So otherwise, you don't know who you're talking to, and then it's awkward to talk about it. But so yes, to answer your question, a lot. Yeah.
And have any of those like stayed with you, or from the school specifically? Yeah.
I don't know how to dance anymore. That has not been useful in my life at all. But in the occasion where, you know, I am at somewhere with more than 2 forks, I'm like, oh yeah, that one's for salads.
Oh, you know. Okay. I mean, that's good, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. And the communication piece has been helpful for me professionally. Obviously, I'm speaking more casually here, but at the workplace, it's important to, you know, for example, not use hip slang when you're talking to your manager, you know, things like that. Although my intern's teaching me words like yeet right now. Like, oh no. What?
Right. I heard my nephew say yeet for the first time yesterday, and I was like, did he just say yeet? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna yeet grand. No, he's like, I'm I'm gonna yeet on out of this place. I'm like, you're like 8. How do you know this?
Amazing.
Oh wow.
Strange. But yeah, Arnie, what about you?
Yeah, kind of. I wasn't put in formal school like Lee was, but my grandmother wanted me to have a one up on other children, because of, there's a lot of we're not really on that topic, but I'm
Stereotypes?
trying to. Yes,
Yeah.
there it is. There's a lot of stereotypes about certain children,
Mm-hmm.
and so she wanted me to have, the eloquence of being a proper lady. And so, she would go through, they used to work with me about diction. So, how you talk and everything. 'Cause I used to mumble because, I have attention deficit disorder really strongly. And so, my mind goes faster than my mouth.
Ah,
And
interesting.
so I'll mumble a lot and don't realize I'm mumbling because I'm like rambling and my mind's going, and my mouth is not able to keep up.
But in your
And
mind, you're thinking that you're completing your
I,
thoughts and sentences and words and everything.
yes,
Interesting.
that's also why I kind of had to prep myself for today, because I didn't want to run the risk of not speaking complete thoughts,
Yeah.
so that way you guys could understand, where I'm coming from, instead of being like, okay, well, where's she getting at? But so she had me do a charms class with it was an older white woman. She had us she had us set the table. She had us, clean the dishes. She had us do certain things like knitting. I wasn't able to get that. She taught me how to press clothes. I was taught like kind of like home economics. I was taught how to boil water and stuff like that, and just certain things that a proper woman should know. And so some of it stuck, and some of it didn't. Of course, I don't knit.
Right.
Um,
So there were only females in that class.
yes,
Okay.
there was. They did. Her son was the man that we would have to, like, if we were setting the table for for our husband at the time. That's what she'd tell us. You set a specific way for him, like, to show respect to him. You put it. There's just certain weird little things that, like, I don't fully remember, but there was just a certain way to do stuff. And it was an experience, because I didn't know that was something that people thought
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It just seemed very strange to me. So, but looking back on it now, it also taught me to, like, really, like, pay attention to. It helped me with paying attention to certain things that I would miss, that I would have missed, like, normally.
Like
So,
what?
like, sometimes I'll miss social cues.
Oh,
Um,
that's a big one.
like, I really look at out like I really look at everyone's face, like when I'm talking to you, or if I'm talking to a group of people, I'm literally looking and scanning every last face,
Yeah.
to make sure I'm not misunderstanding anything, or that I'm not offending anyone, or that I'm not, it's just to make sure that I'm paying attention, because it's hard to focus sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, that's it's like thinking about, like, it's like, how I know what I'm trying to say, and I just lost it. I'm sorry.
Thinking about like the whole situation maybe and how you're
Yeah,
impacting people in that situation.
right. Because I'm trying to make sure that I'm, like, trying to what
You're
you said is exactly what I'm.
you're like kind of like reading the room and making sure that your behavior's in line with the people around. Like you're kind of molding yourself to the room and like how like observing what's going on and what's appropriate to say. No, they look uncomfortable. I shouldn't say this. Like
Right. I try to stay observant to what I'm saying, and to who I'm around, and not to damper myself, but to be considerate to others, so that way I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's
yeah,
never my intention. But you can't please everyone, and that's
yeah,
something I've learned with better manners and etiquette.
yeah.
For me personally, that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn.
That is such a good skill to have that I wish more people had because sometimes people will say things and I look at them like, are you dumb? Like, why would you say something like that? It's like clearly inappropriate, or the person is clearly hurt and they're just rambling on, like just very inappropriate situation. So it's good that, you know, you have that, and it's something that I think we all should kind of like work on having. Like, those are one of those essential things that I think we all should kind of just have and know. What about you, Phil? What are some of the things that you learned growing up?
As I was growing up, my parents taught me all the basic things, saying thank you, please, how to behave around adults and grown-ups. So those are the basics. As far as I guess I don't know if these are some cultural things or not, but well, one thing is in Chinese culture, I'm Chinese, you have to address your elders a certain way, because we have words for an older female and an older male, and also like another generation after, you kind of call them like grandma. But it's like it's not like your grandma, but it's like a certain word for grandma or grandpa,
because they're older, because they're like an elder.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to address them in that way when you say hello to them. And same thing for, it's really interesting, they take age into account. Like, it's a huge thing in Chinese culture. And so for relatives, there are specific words for like your aunt that's on your mom's side, and whether she's an older or younger like sibling of your mom. Yeah, and then same thing on your dad's side. There's a specific word for like uncle or aunt who is older or younger than your dad. Yeah, wow. It gets like, it's insane. And like, whenever I go back to China, I have to ask my parents, like, what do I address them as? Like, I can't remember. I mean, now I remember, but like just growing up throughout the years, I was like, I have no idea. I forgot what I called them last time. It's like, it's so confusing. But it's culturally, that's something that's so important. You know, like you hear like, I guess like I don't know if it's a stereotype or not, but you know, like respect your elders. Like you hear that a lot in like Asian culture. It's like such a important thing for them.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So that, I guess that's just like addressing people. And then another thing that's like, that I remember when I was growing up is like, we would go to like someone's house, you know, we would have to take off our shoes. It's a big thing. And then like, I just remember there were times when afterwards, when we're leaving, you know, the other family would be like, oh yeah, we still have like, I don't know, like cookies or whatever. Here, take some. And then they'd be like, oh, like Felicity would like some of, I bet Felicity would like some of them. And my mom would be like, no, she doesn't. It's okay, thank you. And I'm like, but cookies. Like, yeah, I wanted it so badly, but like, it's like polite to refuse. So like,
interesting.
There'd be that like pushing back, like, no, it's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'd be standing there like, oh my God, please, mom. They're offering it. But like, that's just such a big like thing in our culture, that like, if someone's offering you something, you refuse it to be polite. Like if you accept it, it's like, that's really bad.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing in Middle Eastern culture. Do you guys ever maybe felt, and this might be a thing with your culture, because I know in mine, like if you go, you can't go empty-handed. First of all, if you're going to someone's house, you always have to bring something, right? And second of all, bro, I don't know if there are any Middle Easterns in chat, but like at the door, bro, we're leaving, we're putting on our shoes, but they're like, but you didn't drink tea with us. And they're like, oh, well, we have to stay for tea. Taking off the shoes, putting away the coat, go back in the living room. And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. I'm a child. I want to go home and sleep. Y'all want tea and biscuits? Oh my God. Tea is a thing, guys, in Middle Eastern culture. Like, you sit, you have tea, you converse, and then finally you can leave. But you don't refuse tea. It's like one of those things, like you just don't refuse tea. Or they take it a huge offense if you don't like eat with them. Like Middle Easterns, they're very hospitable, and they're very like, we only have one dish, but like everyone's welcome. Everyone like sit on the floor and eat with us. And if you say no, it's like, you think you're better than us? You don't want to eat with us? Type of thing. Like it's very like togetherness and like we're all equal. Like let's all eat together. It's very interesting because I didn't grow up there, right? But when I went there, 2008, like after I finished high school, I went there for a year and I studied there for a year. And the culture that I saw, I was like, oh shit, this is my culture. Like that's crazy. Like I didn't know about this side of my roots, where I would pass by like shisha places and hookah places, and people would literally be on a carpet sitting on the floor and all eating together from like this huge plate. And like it's sort of the stress on equality. Like even the sheikhs or whatever, they would come and sit with their people and like just eat together. So I really I liked that. I appreciated that was part of the culture. But yeah, those were interesting etiquettes that I didn't know of. So when I saw that, I was like, what are they doing? Do they not have like spoons and forks? But my parents were like, that's just like eating with your hands. Like that's just how it is, you know, back home. It's very interesting thinking about things like that. But Lemon says, for me, I have to always say someone's name or title before asking a question. Like if I'm in a room with my mom, I can't just say, what are you cooking for dinner? I have to say, mother, what are you cooking for dinner? Yeah. It also sounds weird. Like for me, if I was just like, come to my mom, like, what are you cooking? I usually say like, mommy, what are you cooking or something. Yeah, I think I do the same thing.
I think I do that too.
Yeah, I do that as well. Yeah, not think about it.
Yeah, like when you come in the kitchen, you're not just like, what's for lunch? That's so rude, bro. That's so weird.
I don't address my mom as a title, but if I walked in and was like, hey, what are we eating? She would beat me up.
Really? Lovingly. Of course, it's always lovingly.
Yeah, she's tiny. She can't do anything to me anymore.
I think a lot of people have been using slangs at work, and I don't know if it's a thing that should be accepted or not. Have we slacked on mannerisms at work? Yes, we have. Or should we allow that slack because it would make you feel more close to coworkers? I don't know. That is so strange because people hit me with the LOL all the time, and I'm like, am I supposed to respond with LOL back? Or like, are you judging me? Are you testing me? What's happening? Like emojis, all
Wait a
that
minute,
stuff.
How you gonna just say LOL as if that's a... I don't understand.
This is a manager talking to me like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I forgot that LOL. I'm like, are you testing me right now? Like, do I say LOL back? Do I put an emoji? Do I say haha? Like, what hee or what is appropriate? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Really don't. Is there etiquette classes for gentlemen? Bro, that's what I was thinking when Artie and Lee were talking. I was like, bro, men can benefit from this too. I don't understand why it was just for women. I hope these days they have. You know that movie? Y'all know what movie I'm talking about? The gentleman one. Manners maketh man.
I don't know it.
I think I know what you're talking about. Hold on, I'm
it's
drawing.
That guy with that cute guy. Oh my god, y'all know what I'm
There's
talking
so
about?
many.
Chalamet.
It's gonna bother Kingsman. Thank you very much, Slay.
Kingsman, yes. I was Eggsy,
baby.
yeah.
He's cute.
He is cute.
He's cute, right? He's cute.
And he can sing. Yeah, let's go. All right.
When did that happen?
Because it's the same person who does the voice of Johnny from Sing.
Oh,
If you've ever seen the movies,
no, I didn't know
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, Taron Egerton,
Very handsome.
same person. Yes.
So in that movie, he was taught a lot of manners and etiquettes, which I thought was interesting because I think that men should know how to sew, men should know how to iron. Ain't nobody making up your bed for you. Like, it shouldn't be an
Address a
expectation.
letter?
Sorry?
Men should know how to address a letter.
Address a letter, address a person, okay? Carry themselves, not be scratching hoo-ha all over the place. I've seen so many people do that, and it's absolutely disgusting. Like lifting and everything, or like picking your belly button. Like, what is wrong with people? I don't get it. So yes, they should have those as well. I feel like these are targeted towards a woman is perceived in men's eyes. Yes. I can relate to whatever this fella's saying. I got in trouble for saying the wrong word to someone before. So it's like my mom never prepped me. I had to figure that stuff from context. That's rough. As an Asian, I can relate to a lot that Phil mentioned.
Yeah, because I have a lot of cousins that are older than me on my mother's side, and it's very hard to like. I didn't know, so I thought they were aunts because there's like a 50-year difference. So I would call them aunt, and they're like, "That's your cousin," and I'm like, and I'm sitting there just looking
How are
stupid
you
for like
supposed to
5 seconds, and everyone's
know,
just
though?
looking at me, and I'm just like,
How are
I'm
you
gonna
supposed to
cry.
know?
I'm so embarrassed. I'm like,
That's tough. Will
And
says,
then,
I can relate to not going empty-handed. I'm from the UK originally, so all of my Canadian friends used to laugh when I'd show up every time with food or gifts. Oh yeah, you know, it's so strange. I do that too with my friends too. Like friends, I if I go over to their house and we're not hanging out all the time, like I'll bring something over. Or I know the first time I went over to my friend's house and I was like meeting his, I was going over to his house to hang out with him, but his family was home that time. So I was like, I can't go empty handed. And we weren't even in a relationship, but he was like, it's not a big deal. I was like, no, take me to a store. I need to buy cake or something. He's like, we don't need cake. I was like, I don't care. I need to go and get something for the house. It just is very strange going empty handed. I feel weird.
Actually, I have a question about like the whole like gift giving thing because like this drives me insane.
Okay.
But at my house, like my parents, like they give a lot of like random like gifts to their friends because my mom like she'll buy some stuff like okay, recently it was the Mid-Autumn Festival, so we had like moon cakes and stuff. So my mom like, oh, like we have to give some moon cakes to other people. So
Yes.
she'll like give them something, and then like sometimes out of nowhere, like someone random will call us and like, oh, we made this like dish for you guys. We're gonna bring it over, and then my mom's like, oh crap, we
Now
have to
give them something.
So like it's like
A cycle.
last time we gave this family like lobster or something. We
Okay.
ordered, but like we gave them something, and then they gave us like a big like slab of meat that they just bought from the like grocery store, and it's like, well, you know that they did not plan to give you that. They're just giving you that to like because you're there, you know. And it's like sometimes it's like, oh crap, they're coming to our house, we got to give them something. Okay, there's a bag of peanuts, we'll give them that. And it's like, what? Why? You obviously did not. They know that you did not plan on giving them this gift, and it looks like you just randomly
grabbed something
in your house and gave it to them, and they still do it. And I'm like, please stop, please. Like, they know that you're not like. I don't know if anyone else, like other families, do that or not, but like that's happened to us so many times.
That is, I have never heard of that, but that's, I think we do that with Tupperware. Like if someone gives us Tupperware, we always fill it and then give it back to them. And I'm like, but then we just washed it. They're gonna make them wash it again, but okay, whatever. But my parents will give gifts for like no reason to people. They'll just be like, you know what? You're a nice person. We're gonna buy you something and give it to you. And I'm like, maybe we can't afford that kind of stuff. Like, I don't understand. But they're like, it's not about the money. You can buy something that's not very expensive, but it's about good gestures to people. Gifts bring people together. And I was like, I understand that, but no one gives two shits about us. Like, honestly, my parents help so many people, and I'm not saying this as like, oh my god, we're so amazing, but my parents like are always giving and always helping other people. But like, no one helps my parents' house. People, like my parents have had to do almost everything by themselves, and if they've ever asked for help, which they don't do, because that's another like cultural thing, like, you do everything by yourself, don't ask for help. No one helps them. Like, they're so giving, and I think that's, I don't know if that's cultural or it's like our religious belief, because Islamically, gifts, we believe like gifts bring people together. So like, give gifts to people that you would also want for yourself. Like, don't give shitty things away. Like, give things that are valuable to you, because then you're giving something good to someone else, and it's about creating love and community and all that. So I can see why they do it, but it pisses me off sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, why would you? Because I think it bothers me, like, no one cares about my parents, but they're always all up, like, helping people, which is great, which is nice. I know I sound like a shitty person right now, but it's just, like, they're old, and they don't make a lot of money, and it's just, like, they're spending all this money helping people, and, like, no one cares about my parents, so it feels bad. But I think that's the whole gift situation. Like, they do give a lot of gifts.
Can I give your parents a cake? Do they need a cake?
We are always happy for cakes.
I want moon cakes, though.
I've never had a mooncake. I really want one. I saw the ones Lemon made. They looked really good.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah,
they look
right?
so
They look
pretty.
very pretty.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Tanepi says the only thing I can't do is swear, but I have a casual relationship with my parents. Oh, that's interesting. I've seen that. I've seen that with people, but I think some people take it to the next level where they're able to call their parents the B word and stuff, which is
Huh?
where I draw the line, bro.
Wait,
That's
what?
just very disrespectful. Or like
Yeah.
F you, mom.
Oh.
You
Oh,
want to back
No
I
way.
mean, you trying to like
I
get slapped.
couldn't.
I
Oh,
mean,
bro.
I
I
said that
can't.
exactly once to my mother as a
Did
child
you have a death
because I didn't just do it for fun. She closed one of my fingers in the car window. And
like
it's fine.
accidentally?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the old, and I still got in trouble. Apparently, being in a lot of pain wasn't.
Excuse to no.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yep, still got grounded.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
believe you. That would happen to me too. Foggy says, I don't believe in addressing people with their name, especially if they're already talking. We're in a one-on-one conversation. But if I want someone specific's attention, I always address their name. Yeah. I actually like it when people say my name. It's something weird about hearing your name. It feels more personal, like something is directed towards you, and they're like really seeing you, and it feels good to be seen. Has love on my fingers. I'm just catching up on chat. Sorry, guys. Hi, Audi.
What else? Oh yeah, Audi did say hi. Hi, Audi. Oh, but I could. Growing up, I could never like curse around my parents at all. Like if I even slipped up and said "darn" or "damn" or oh yeah, they're not here. So if I said the F word or the SH, those words, I couldn't say that. Like I recently like slipped up and said something, and I started apologizing profusely because I was like, I wasn't cursing at you. It was just what I meant about the moment.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, it's fine. You're an adult now, and I'm like, I don't.
Drilled it
I
into me too
can't.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just difficult.
Now,
I probably could have done it when I was younger because I don't think my parents knew any curse words.
True. You could have been like, that's
So I
just how they
probably
say
could've.
apple,
I didn't though. But although like a few years ago my family went like on a trip, and then my brother and I we decided to blast the M&M new album in the car.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
And then it was like there was one track that was so bad, and my brother and I were like, oh no. And then my mom's like, what is this? Are they saying a bunch of bad words? I'm like, it was so funny though.
The worst
Like
is
that one.
when I have like my music playing and then I have like a pervy song that comes on talking about like my neck, my back, lick my
Lick
and
my-
I'm like,
Hey.
and you're like scrambling for the phone and your dad's sitting right beside you and you're like, oh my, I don't listen to this music. It's called an ad. It's an ad. Oh my god. Oh my god. But
Like that one mom on TikTok that's like, trying to
But
like
then
trying to turn it
on
off.
TikTok,
Oh.
you see moms who are just like vibing it out with their parents, like their kids talking about like wet ass pussy, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
I could do that cool with my kid. Like that's weird.
No.
No, it's. I think the
Like,
funniest thing. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
Oh, I was just gonna say I have a pretty casual relationship with my parents. Like, I didn't swear until I went to college. Now I swear like a sailor, but I know like when it's appropriate to turn it off and on. Like with my friends who don't care,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
When we talk about the state of the world, also fine, but not just like for fun all the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a big difference between like using it as an emphasis word or something, like when you put it next to name calling.
Mhm.
Like that's just not
Yeah.
something we do.
It's more aggressive that way, anyways, right?
Right.
When it's directed towards someone, as opposed to like this bleeping weather or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
The weather is the worst
The
thing that I can come up
This
with.
weather's the effing worst, just wow.
Oh God.
Uh,
Do you guys judge people based on their level of manners and etiquettes, or is that something that you look at in relationships that you have with people, and that affects the relationship that you have with them at all? Fellas, you want to start us off?
Sure. I don't like to judge people, but I do. I mean,
I do.
let's be real. Like, I mean, if someone's just super rude, like Okay, wait. Are we talking about just any kind of relationships, like friendships or like
Any kinds of, or if it's different for each, you can break it off and be like, I don't really care in this, but I care in this, or something.
Let me think. I guess like I think for like dating wise, I'd be more higher standards, I think, because like I would want to be with somebody who's like very like has really good manners and is super respectful, because you know I was raised that way, and I would just expect that in a partner.
Yep.
I think for friends, honestly, it probably is similar, you know. It definitely is important. If someone's just super rude, I just don't really want to. You just don't really want to hang out with them. I mean, if they can't even do something that simple, just showing some respect, then I just don't really want to. I guess I feel like I don't really want to offer my time, and maybe that sounds harsh, but it's like, look, to me, the people I surround myself with, they're a huge influence on me. So the people that I choose to spend my time with, that I have an expectation. But of course, I would be like
holding yourself to that expectation too. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, in conclusion, yeah, I think I do definitely judge people based on their manners, etiquette. Etiquette a little less. Just with how we are. No, sorry, not. Wait, etiquette is the societal like.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
It's like, don't make inappropriate comments. Don't like, I don't know, grope people, get in people's personal space, and like things like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that's super important. I keep thinking of it as like the fancy, like knowing,
I
like
know.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
That's when
Like,
I googled it.
that's
I was like,
what
oh, that's what it is. That's important.
Yeah, like that. The fancy stuff I wouldn't care as much about, because like just people just don't know that stuff. They have different upbringings, but as long as they are just like good people with good manners / etiquette, like yeah.
And I really like that you mentioned. Oh shit! You mentioned something in the beginning that I thought was really good, and I just lost it. What did you say in the beginning, Phil?
Different like in different contexts. I don't know if there's different. People have different manners in different like settings.
There was something else and I completely forgot. You had mentioned something like so good, and I was gonna say like, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of people overlook that. Oh God, my memory. But I think I'm pretty much like you in that sense. Like, I don't judge people. I try not to judge people, but I know I judge people, and I know I'm very harsh. Like, I was just talking to my sister about this yesterday. I was like, I've realized I'm a really harsh person when it comes to judging people, but I also think it's because I hold myself to those standards too. So like, I'm hard on myself. Like, I know when I mess up, I know when I interrupt someone and I'm like, that was a shitty thing to do, I shouldn't have done that, I gotta be better next time. Like, I'm like always thinking about like what I messed up on and how I can fix myself, because I don't want to be a crappy person. Like, I want to be better, and I don't think I'm like the best, and I don't think I'm perfect and I've got it all figured out. Like, I know I have a long way to go, so I would want someone else that I'm spending that you're giving people time. So if you're choosing to give people that time, like, your time is precious, so you should be allowed to choose who you want to spend that with. And if that person is not meeting your expectations, or even attempting to, for themselves, not even just for you, then it's okay to not want them around. And I think that's a lot of times you're pressured into overlooking your expectations of people or what you want in people, because that's seen as like you're being too harsh on them, or you're being too difficult, or your standards are too high, and all of this. But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having high standards?
And I don't think judging people's a bad thing, because if someone's being bad, if somebody's actually being mean to your friends, judge them.
Yeah.
Like, you should.
Yeah.
At that point. So, yeah.
And then you're taking that information and you're saying, oh, they're this kind of person. I no longer want to associate myself with them. I'm not going to go out of my way and hurt them, but I'm also not going to let them near me. I think there's a difference between like taking it very personal and then doing something about it in that negative way and directly trying to hurt that person, as opposed to like, got it, you're that kind of person, I don't want you around me, therefore I'm blocking you off. And that's definitely something that I had to learn, because I was always so one thing I've learned about myself over the years is that I want people to like me. Like, it's a flaw in me that I'm trying to work on. I feel uncomfortable when I find, I'm better at it now, but before I used to be really uncomfortable with the prospect of someone not liking me, and I would try to bend over backwards to like try to make them like me, or like, are you good with me? We're good, we're no beef, everyone's good. But I think something I've learned over the years is that it's okay not to be cool with everyone. Like, not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. All you can do is try to be the best version of yourself. Don't be a shitty person. And if people still don't vibe with you, that's okay. That's okay. Not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay. But I think with manners and etiquettes, I definitely do judge people, and I think if they don't meet my own standards, or at least are not at the same kind of practices that I have, I do judge them. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, thank you. I do judge them. What about you, Lee?
So sorry, remind me of the original question.
Do you judge people based on their manners and etiquettes, and is that important to you in interpersonal relationships?
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking too much. Absolutely. So I have always been pretty, I mean, they call it like emotional intelligence.
Yes.
But
very important.
Like, you know, in all of the personality tests I've ever taken, I've always been like a harmony person. I've always been the person that wants to make connections without, hurting the other person as little as possible. And so even in, you know, this sort of thing where you are potentially not going to connect with someone because their manners are different than yours. Like, I don't want to be friends with someone who yells at people in general, just because I don't do that. I'm very conflict avoidant, don't want to listen to it. And I think it's perfectly reasonable to not want to be around that energy. This is interesting to get a peek into different cultures. I don't know if my family really has a culture. It's just a bunch of mutts, but like just a lot of white countries. Sorry, like
it's
like all of Western Europe. Yeah. So like we don't have much in the like. It was never stressed to me like respect your elders. You know, the respect has to be earned. Obviously, don't be a jerk to your elders, but if they're not nice to you, you don't have to fall on your face to please them. You know, if something is abusive or negative. And in terms of dating specifically, that actually caused a long-term relationship to fall apart for me, because I could not get across to this other person that his manners, or lack thereof, were hurting other people. And that we're just like communicating on totally different wavelengths. We could not reconcile. And yeah, so absolutely. I think it's kind of natural to tend towards people with manners that make you feel good and you make them feel good. And yeah, so it's confusing at times, but
I think what's upsetting is when you have very basic expectations of people and they can't even meet that. Like, I had someone who my basic expectation was just don't make sexist slurs. Like, it's very easy not to say them. And this person, like, I lost a friendship over this because he just could not call me names. Because he's like, it might happen again, and I'm just afraid it might slip out, and I'd rather have a falling out, like, on my own terms and leave than, like, you call me out and then we stop being friends. I'm like, instead of working on yourself, you're just dipping. Okay.
Right.
Weird, but cool story. Okay, bye. Like, what am I going to say? That's weird, man. I don't know. Strange. What about
it says
you?
a lot about the person.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, I'm not even going to fight you for this and be like, can we talk about it? I was like, okay. Bye. Like, okay, you made your decision. Shitty decision, but you made it. So, yeah. What about you, Artie? Are manners and etiquettes important to you in interpersonal relationships? Was it important to you when you met your wife? Like, was that something that you looked for in her?
Yes, I did. I didn't judge her for her manners or her etiquettes because I wanted to see her as a real person instead of a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, with how I was, especially with how I was raised about, how things are done properly and versus improper, and it could create like a bubble of idealism instead of pragmatism, and I like to be more pragmatic in how I approach people and situations because everyone's different. I really strongly believe in individuality. Right. So when I met her, there is an age gap between both of us. Mm-hmm. It's a bit large. Yes, I am talking about you. Love you. But when I met her, I didn't want to give her a chance at first because of the age gap. Because I was like, there might be too much of a gap, so there might be too big of a difference, and that was a prejudgment on my part. Because I looked at the societal view of, because there's such a big age gap between us, it's never going to work. But then when I got to know her as a person, we're very compatible, so of course, I wouldn't have married her if we weren't compatible, because that would be toxic to both of us. And that's one thing I try to avoid in my life, is being toxic to like anybody. To anybody, and if I can do that by not judging harshly, like I do judge, but I don't judge harshly with how I approach things. It makes it easier, just like it makes it easier to see if their manners and stuff actually bother me, or if that's just my view from someone else telling me that should bother me. Versus how I actually see it. And I grew up in a very what's the word? Opinionated family. That's cultural too with us. Every family member older than you, their view is correct, and you should listen and learn because they're right. They've lived longer, so
they have more experience than you. Well,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So to the extent I'm just like, okay, it's all good. That makes sense. So, I just watch out. But when I met her, I didn't, go into the relationship with that mindset, because the last time I did, I ended up getting hurt severely and taken advantage of. And I didn't want to do that. So, just kind of like did things differently. And for the most part, there are, like, I would say like the judgment is more of like, I'm trying to make sure that we're both happy in a sense, versus I'm happy and I don't care if you're not happy, because how I look at things and how I view your manners is more important than who you are as a person. And I try not to do that. But it can, when you judge, sometimes you can fall into that mindset, and it can be like kind of just a little, just kind of like hard to like get out of, especially if you were around people who were like that very strongly, where you're different than us, so we we don't associate with you because you're different, or we don't talk to you because what you have been taught versus what I've been taught is so different, and I don't want to make any sort of bridge. I don't want to make any sort of connection, that I'm going to judge you and continue to judge you, and what I judge is right. And I was raised to not like really believe that, but it was a view that it was a lot of hypocritical thinking from my family.
God, yeah.
Because they would say that, but then their actions will be something totally different.
And they would exclude people, I guess, based on their... Okay.
Yeah, they would exclude you, and it would be indirectly more than anything. It wasn't like a direct, it was more of that like behind the scenes, in your face, they're smiling, everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then behind the scenes, oh, well, she just, and I can't stand that chick. And, it's just like kind of crazy and stuff. So, but to me, that's the type of judging I try to stay away from, when it comes to people's manners and etiquette, because everybody's different. Everyone's situation is uniquely their own. And I can either choose to accept them to be a part of my life, because they're going to be an asset in either way, like not an asset as in like an object, but more as in like a positive energy, depending on the person, or it could be a negative energy. And if it's a negative energy, then I'm not going to talk to you. But if it's positive, I'll still talk to you. But even if it's completely negative, I'll still make the gesture, because I could be wrong. It could be just a bad day for you, and you just don't want to be, associated right now in that particular way. So the energy I gave was different than, the energy that you needed, and that's fine. And that's not my fault or your fault. It's just how that day went. Every day's a new journey on life, and that's pretty much how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think with first impressions, I'm like that too. Like, I'll make an observation and I'll keep it in my head and be like, that's strike one. And then let's give you another chance. And if you just repeatedly do that same, or you give me that weird vibe, I'm like, okay, now I can like properly judge you, and you're just going to be a no from me. But yeah, I really do try not to just act on my first vibe off of a person, because there have been so many times, I'm sure, that I've had like the worst first impression. Like, I'll be late, or like I'll say something very stupid, or I'll say something possibly inappropriate and make people uncomfortable. And like, I would hate for people to just be like, oh, that's the kind of person she is, right? Which is like, at least get to know me a little bit more, and then if you still don't like me, that's cool, but like, please give me a chance. So yes, I do understand what you're saying. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is, someone in chat said, I think it was Solo Dolo. He was like, if someone does something that makes you uncomfortable, or it's not proper manners or etiquette, like, call them out for it, because they might not know that they're doing this or they're that way, and how are they supposed to fix themselves if like no one tells them? And that was a huge flaw in me before. I was very non-confrontational, and I was like, I'd rather just scurry away than talk about my feelings and what upset me and all of that. But it's something that I've really been working on for the last like 7 years of my life, like really trying to work on my communication skills and confrontation. Like, I purposely will put my face uncomfortable situations so that I can train myself of like, even though your heart is like pounding and your cheeks are getting flushed because you're so scared, and like, this is a very uncomfortable situation for you, like, just do it, because it's going to make you stronger. Like, it's hard work, but I really feel like there would have been so many things that I wouldn't have known about myself if people wouldn't have told me, and they wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have told them. And then after you tell them, if they still choose to be whatever which way that they want, then you can choose to leave and get them out of your life, because you did your part, right? Like, you tried to help them, and they were like that guy. I told him, like, can you please not use sexist slurs? I told him my part. I told him, it makes me uncomfortable, don't talk like that to me. And he made his decision. That was the end of that, right?
Yeah.
Sadly, not everyone is open to criticism. They will struggle to handle it, shut it down, and yes. Or they will use the excuse of like, I was never raised like that. I was never taught that. I was never this.
Yeah.
And the rule that I follow in my life is like, you have till maybe like, I'm being really generous. You have like till 28 to use that as an excuse. You have till 28. I'm giving you 28 solid years of using that excuse. After that, baby boo, you are on your own. You make your own life. You make your own rules. You make your own character. You got to shed that skin and like grow as a person. You can't use that as an excuse anymore. You just can't.
Hell yeah, I've got one more year to offend people.
Right? I got 28 till 20. Yeah, you got till 28, Scooter Lee. After that, I'm going to hold you harshly now.
That's one thing I've been doing more recently too, with communicating with my wife, is to let her know, especially if I don't understand something, because there are a lot of emotional things I don't understand, and I'll tell her, I'll be like, I don't understand that, and she'll explain it, and then I'll be like, let me meditate on it, because in that moment, because I'm emotional, I don't understand, and I'm not receptive to understand. So I can understand why, like, that could be difficult, for people that, like, especially if it's a stranger and you're just like, you've just met them and they did something really rude. You tell them and they're like, well, you're a stranger. You don't, your opinion doesn't matter because you're a stranger. And then they start hearing it from their friends and they're like, well, maybe that random person on the street was right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And sometimes you also gotta weigh, is it worth it to talk to this person about it? Like, who are you? Like, are you worth it for me to try to correct you or like help you or mend our relationship? Like, are you even worth it? Because sometimes it takes so much energy to confront the person and then they're nobody to you. Like, no offense, but like, not everyone like matters, right, to you as in your life. And that might sound harsh, but that's the reality, right? I don't matter to everybody, and that's okay. And that's just I think we all need the maturity to accept that, because that's just part of being human. We don't have the mental capacity and the emotional capacity to genuinely invest in everybody that comes our way. It's just not practical. It's not.
There's no way you can help every single person.
There's no way you can. No.
You encounter so many people, and if you tried to do that, you just wouldn't have a life.
Yeah, it's true.
There's just not enough time and energy to do that.
Yeah, that's why I try my best to like help people when I can, but I've tried to avoid saying I'm here for you, because I know what comes with that. Those are heavy words. When you tell someone I am here for you, that means you can hit me up anytime and I will respond. I know I won't. So why would I make that false promise to somebody? Like, I'm not good with keeping on my phone. I'm not good with keeping up on messages. I get overwhelmed very easily. Like, I get stressed out very easily. And I have a medical condition that spikes when I get stressed out. So, like, I just don't have the capacity to. So it sounds shitty, but, like, I really try to curb how many people I let in my life, because I just can't. I physically can't. I really can't. No.
It's not shitty. That's a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
It makes me feel shitty because I'm like, I want to help people. I want to listen to them and I want to like be there for them. But then you also do have to look out for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I wish it wasn't so difficult to like put yourself first. Does that make sense? Like it's so hard sometimes to put yourself first. Ugh. I'm trying to work on it.
Yeah. It sounds like human giver syndrome. If you Google that, like, there's a ton of stuff on it. But it's this thing where a lot of people are conditioned to give themselves away entirely and not take care of themselves and still feel like they're not doing enough.
Yep.
And there's a name for that.
What's it called?
The human giver syndrome.
Okay.
There's a really good feminist survival project podcast on it. I'll drop it in your Discord later.
Please do. Yeah. I'd like to learn about that.
Yes, same here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that.
I know, but it sounds so accurate. I was like, it might be.
I was like shook. I was like shook to my core for a second. I was like, oh,
are you talking to me?
Oh, like.
Well, I have depression, and so like with everything being the way it is, I have like much less capacity this year, and so I've just struggled with the same thing because there's just less like energy to go around, but more problems to solve. So take care of you first.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. Foggy says there's a bunch of shit you're never taught in life. Life is a never-ending journey of learning. Once you deny yourself from personal growth, your life is lost. 100%. I'm 33. I learn new shit every day. Yeah. And I think that's what's beautiful about life, like learning new things. Like, okay, one of the biggest lessons that I recently learned that I think was like life altering for me was when you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean forgiving someone doesn't equate to we're buddy now, we can go back to the way things are or were. Forgiving someone means you understand why they did what they did, you accept their apology, and now you are taking action that you feel is healthy to deal with that. Like your way of forgiving someone doesn't mean you automatically go back to that person. You mend the relationship and you work it out. And I think that was such a life altering thing for me to learn, because I always thought forgiveness meant we're cool, we're good, like let's go back to how we were before. Or the all lives matter. I used to say all lives matter all the time. When I heard the whole Black Lives Matter, I was like, but all lives matter. And then I saw a picture that explained why it's ignorant to say all lives matter. And then I learned, and I was like, oh, got it. Black Lives Matter. And like, you learn all the time, and if you shut yourself off from that and you're very stubborn in your own ways, like do you want to be the same person at 40 that you were at 30? I don't. I want to look back last year and be like, I did learn something. Like, I'm a different person. And I can literally look at TwitchCon, guys, and be like, I'm actually a different person. Like, the person I was at at TwitchCon was like a more broken version of myself that I am now. I think I was going through a lot of healing, and I was still dealing with the breakup that I was going through from like 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago now, I think. Maybe 3. I don't know. One of those 3.5 years ago or so. But like, it really wrecked me. Like, it actually destroyed me as a person. And I feel like I'm in a more healthier and stronger place now. But we keep growing, and like, we just gather all this knowledge and this wisdom. And I get so much wisdom from my guests that come on these shows. Like, they will drop a seed in my mind, and I'll be like going to bed thinking about it. Like, that's why I love this show so much. So thank you guys for being part of it. Really, like, it really, this is therapy for me. This is like real therapy for me, for real. So thank you. This means a lot to me.
Thank you. I mean, it's helping us, all of us, because we get to hear the different perspectives and gain insight. Yeah. It's good having these discussions.
It really
is. It's
is.
good for the self-growth, personal growth.
100%. So I know Artie said...
Good feelings.
Yeah, right? I know Artie said that she tries not to like totally judge someone based on their manners and etiquettes. And I know the rest of us kind of judge people more on their manners and etiquettes than Artie does. So Artie, I'm curious, are there any manners and etiquettes that are particular red flags to you that you were like, I'll make an exception, and that's the one I'm gonna judge you on for real?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm not a fool. There are certain red flags.
Yeah.
If you go out of your way to be overtly confrontational, that's a red flag for me. Because
what's an example of that?
An example of someone being overtly confrontational. So let's say, for instance, we have a different political view.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said you didn't want to talk politics, and that's fine. I won't go deep. But let's say we have a different political view, and I've explained to you why I feel my particular way about why I don't support this person. And you're a very stalwart supporter, as in you stand by this person regardless of, the evidence, regardless of what's being seen, just like I stand by my person regardless of evidence and what's been seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you go out of your way to continue to tag me in things that upset me.
Yes.
And I've stated my view. I let you know. And I'm a very forgiving person. Normally the first time I'll be like, hey, I'll remind you, please don't tag me in these things because I'm not supporting that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you continue to do it, that's to me being overtly, like, if you continue to like over and over again, and then your excuse is, oh, I forgot to not tag you. No, you're lying, because it takes 3 finger presses. I know, because I can't type for nothing. It takes 3 to 4 finger presses for you to type in my name. So that means you made a conscious effort to include me in this, even though I've already stated to you in a kind and loving way as best as I can. I'm not always sunshine and rainbows, but I stated to you that this bothers me, and you don't care. So that to me is a red flag, because if you don't care, that means you will continue to not care.
Yeah.
Because you're showing a pattern. And so to me, I look for patterns. That's what I mean by not judging people harshly. I look for a pattern of behavior.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah.
If you have a pattern of behavior that is something that I don't agree with, then yes, I will be like, okay, I've been watching you and I've been paying attention, because that's what I do. I know that sounds creepy to some folks, and I apologize if it is, but I do watch people and I pay attention, because I'd rather observe you and actually see you versus, being like, oh, this is my own personal view of you because I'm looking through, a certain lens. No. If I just, watch you, it'll tell me like what type of person you are. Like, I know what type of person that each one, like the only person I don't really fully know here is Lee. But I know both you and Phil very well because I've watched you both for a long time. And I can tell that you guys are the type of people that I would, like to be associated with and be, friends with. And I don't judge you for your mannerisms or certain little quirks that you may have. And there's a difference between a quirk and, just being just rude. And some people will say I'm quirky, and they're just rude and obnoxious and very boisterous and just not kind. And they'll say, "Oh, I'm quirky," And
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's the wrong word.
Yeah.
That's not, But that's what helps me personally, is just actually watching a person and seeing a pattern. Because people have patterns. People are creatures of habit, whether we consciously see it or unconsciously see it. That's why I try not to prejudge, because you may have one day where your habits are this way, and put in another situation, your habits are a different way. And so, but your habits still are a pattern. It's still a pattern. It's going to follow a certain formula, because, that's just how people are versus, groups of people, I guess. That's like the difference between psychology and sociology, stuff like that. So, when I look at a group, it's different, because groups are unpredictable and scary. But people, people are, more direct, indirectly direct, I guess. It's kind of redundant and circular thinking, but that's just kind of how people are just naturally. So I try not to use that particular human flaw as a way to like be too harsh, I guess, is more of what I'm getting at.
I think how people interact in groups too says a lot about them as a person. Like, that's a great way to observe, or place to observe people too, which I'm sure you have done with a lot of us, like in groups.
Yes. I haven't had a chance to like meet a lot of people IRL, but like in situations like this where we're all in video chat and I can see everyone's faces, I can see how a person sits, I can see who rubs their faces, who's feeling nervous, who's not feeling nervous, who's comfortable, stuff like that. I can tell by just looking at you, even if it's just a half glance, and I've gotten really good at it and everything. So it's like it's not a way of judgment. It's just more of like, I'm just
Observing.
watching.
Yeah. Which is a really good skill to have. Yeah.
I think that will help with judgment, because if you observe, it'll be easier to not judge. It'd be more of just, I saw that. So that's not me really passing judgment. That's me stating facts.
Yeah.
Because
anything,
that
I think it would help you. No, I'm sorry. I think it would make you create a more concrete judgment on someone, because you're using based on evidence rather than, oh, this is just how I feel.
Yeah, feelings can be, to me, feelings can be unpredictable. I love feelings because that's my whole life is feelings. But at the same time, I like to be able to have some sort of, I'm a logical person. I like to have concrete things that I can be like, okay, I know, there's certain things that we all do, like, certain twitches or shoulder movements or, body language and stuff like that, and movements. And you can tell, oh, this person's like at ease, or this person's really agitated. And then like a lot of times there's that unspoken words that people do, where they don't say anything, and it's just like how they carry themselves, and that to me is a form of manners. It's mannerisms. So so to me that's a form of it. So it kind of like changes like how you view everything, because you can't just look at stuff one dimensionally, because we're four-dimensional creatures living in a 2-dimensional 3D world. So it's really easy to like be like, oh, it's really easy to like to make things more simple. You want to simplify, and people are just complex but simple at the same time. So that's just my take on like certain little things like that.
No, that's a good take. So you watch people's behavior, you observe over time, and you watch for patterns, and then you make your judgment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to do facts. Not just facts, but more of, I like to give everyone a chance, because everyone deserves a chance.
Yeah.
Even if they feel like they don't, they deserve a chance. And as a person who suffers from anxiety and depression, it's very easy to feel like you never
got a chance,
and that no one understands, and that no one feels what you feel, or you're alone, and you're not. So that's why I always like try to stay as welcoming and friendly and supportive as possible, because it's easy to forget that today might not be someone's good day, And even if you're having a bad day, that's one thing my grandmother taught me. Even if you're having a bad day, don't forget that a simple smile can turn it around. So, it's just kind of like how it's kind of like how I, look at it, try to stay positive as best as I can.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. How about you, Lee? Are there some manners and etiquettes that would be like ultimate red flags to you?
Yes. But what Artie said resonated a lot with me in terms of patterns of behavior. Like, I try really hard not to just count someone out just from, having a bad day. There's this word I recently became aware of that is sonder. It's the idea that everyone else it's the realization that everyone else is experiencing as complex and intricate life as you are. So when you go out to get your Starbucks or whatever, and someone's unkind to you at some point, you have no idea what's going on. You have no idea what their backstory is. Like, so based on those like just brief interactions with strangers or acquaintances, I try really hard to give people the benefit of the doubt. And just be like, yeah, even in traffic, like if someone cuts me off, I'm just like, oh yeah, he probably just didn't see me. Unless it keeps happening. Thank you for the It's just that idea of, for a lot of things, I feel like I can't have an opinion until I know enough about the situation. And that's just one of those things. I have no idea what's going on there. So, in terms of red flags, like the big ones, opinions and actions that cause harm to other people, that are continuous and continue despite communication about it, or otherwise feedback that it's unacceptable. I feel like those are ones for most people. You don't want to be friends with someone who regularly punches people in the face for fun.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're into Muay Thai or something like that.
Yeah, or MMA or something.
Yeah. But another thing that's pretty big for me, just because it's so important to me to like make people feel nice and treat them with respect and kindness, like just default to kindness before all else, is the people that just use the, oh, I'm just blunt excuse.
Oh, I was going to talk about that later. I freaking hate that. No, you're rude. You're rude. Yeah. You're just rude.
It's just like, no, you're just not even trying to think about how your words strike other people at all.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly it. Because it's too hard. I'd rather just be like, I'm just being honest.
No offense, but It's like, why?
I know.
Why?
I know.
When I accidentally hurt someone's feelings, it kills me.
Yeah.
like I've had the same sort of journey that you discussed. Is like, I think a lot of us with these manners and etiquettes thing, we were raised to like ruffle everyone else as little as possible. You know,
You'd rather take the hit than like hurting other people.
Right. And a lot of manners and etiquette is about that, you know, like don't offend anybody, be quiet, be small. And obviously that's not all of it, but it is kind of a side effect.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when people are just rude and just take no responsibility for how they impact other people, it grinds my gears.
Yeah.
I just cannot understand.
Yeah, that's the one for me too. Yeah. What about you, Fel? What are some that are like red flags for you?
So I've been trying to think of stuff because I guess there's some really obvious ones, of course. Like Lee said, if someone's like always punching someone in the face, you know, those type of examples, of course. Like I wouldn't want to be. I mean, those are obvious red flags. I think some of the things that get me the most, that make me the most angry, are when people are rude to my friends and my family. I feel like when they are like that to me, I mean, I feel like I've been streaming for like 8 years. Whatever comments people say doesn't affect me that much at this point. But the moment that they say something about somebody else that I care about, that's when I feel really, really, that really grinds my gears.
Yeah, like it's a target towards you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like different when it's me because it's like it doesn't affect me that much. It's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think Artie did make a really good point about the patterns of behavior. Even though I do judge people based on their manners and etiquette, I absolutely do give people second chances. And in fact, there was somebody even on my stream who like pretty much like DDoSed me. I gave him multiple chances, and he ended up becoming a really good friend of mine, which is really funny.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I mean, just and even I've been very forgiving. I'm not as forgiving now.
Me too.
But you know, if someone's coming in and they say something, you know, I've told like TC and Arctic, just like see what they're about. They give them, you know, a warning at least. And if they continue behaving a certain way, then I mean, what, you know, we know that they're not really there for the right reasons. They're just trolling. But yeah, I think the patterns of behavior, that's definitely a big one. If someone's continuing to do that, and like the others have said, people could be having a bad day.
Yeah.
If I'm going out and I'm like eating at a restaurant or like, you know, out at a bar, if I get bad service, I still give a really good tip. Even there's been times I've been mad, but I'm like, dang it, and I'm still writing a good tip.
Because it's like your personal principle.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they did have a bad day.
Oh,
so I
that's
still
actually
stick to that.
really nice. Oh, that's so sweet.
But it's just like, you know, I've been there, right? Like I've had days where it's just everything just sucks and you can't put your best face forward all the time. And I know other people have been in that situation too.
Yeah, that's true. I think one thing that one of the many things, I have a list, but one of the things that I really observe in people is how they treat people in customer service roles. I think it's really rude when people are just like snapping at waiters or like whistling at them, try to get their attention, or handing out money like this. I can't even do it because I don't do it, but like I just dropped the paper. But like instead of just giving the money decently, they're just like, here's a 20. Like it's very rude, like very, very rude. This is not your whoever you think this person is. Like, there's someone there that's doing a job, there's in a service role, and you just need to be kind to them. I really don't understand the snapping or snapping to get my attention. Oh my God. No, don't do that. I think the best way to get my attention, especially if you're a friend, is just like gently be gentle with me. Just like touch my shoulder, call my name. I would be a decent human being. Like, it's very basic stuff. I think another thing I look for is like how you carry yourself in public when it comes to alcohol. Like, are you able to hold yourself? I should correct. If you know you're a bad drunk, do you have control over yourself to get yourself to that state? Like, if you know you get aggressive and you get really rowdy and you get really rude and you get really like all over the place when you get drunk, do you make an active effort to control that about yourself and be like, no, I don't want to become that version of myself, so I'm just going to cut myself off? And I think that is something that not a lot of people talk about, because it's become so normalized in our society to make excuses for bad behavior with the excuse of alcohol. It's like, oh, I didn't mean that. I was drunk. I didn't mean to hit you. I was drunk. But it's like, that's still you though. You did that though, right? If people can use alcohol as a way of like removing all inhibitions, that's still you then. That's actually the more raw version of you. So you need to be held accountable for your decisions that you make under the influence, right? So I do watch my friends, like if they do go out of control, that I'm more wary of that, because I'm like, oh my God, is that the real you? That's kind of creepy. Like, I thought I knew you, but I guess I don't. That's creepy. No. So I watch that, and I watch people's humor. That's something I'm very, very conscious of. People might think I have like a very thin skin. Like, I don't have a thick skin for insults, and like I would like to think I have a decent sense of humor, but I just don't like it when people use sarcasm and insults as a way of being funny. Like, that's not funny. When you're hurtful and when you say hurtful things or you make people uncomfortable and then like they might feel sad and stuff later, like that's not funny to me. So I don't like it when people don't have control over the type of humor that they use. If people, like if I'm in a relationship with someone and you're late, I would expect you to just like let me know that, hey, I'm running like 15 minutes late or 20 minutes late or whatever it is. Like, let me know. Don't have me just waiting for no reason and I'm thinking like, did he get into a car accident or did something happen to him? Meanwhile, you're just running late. I think that's applicable to all types of relationships, but I know for like dating, I definitely watch that more. And this one. Okay guys, I'm about to get like real with you right now. Okay, weddings, right? Weddings are expensive. It's about $150 per plate. And if you get a card, like a wedding card, whatever, and it just says, Felicity, you're invited to so-and-so's wedding, do you bring a +1? What do you guys think?
Not unless you check the box that it's offered.
Okay, what if there's no box? It's literally like, Felicity, you are cordially invited to so-and-so's wedding. Already in a partner.
Better not bring extra people without clearing that with somebody.
I've never been to a wedding.
For real?
What?
I was supposed to go to my first one as a bridesmaid in June.
Oh.
But I got postponed.
Okay, someone needs to get married. Hurry up. Someone needs to get married. Seriously.
I just know how much it takes to organize things like that, having like helped organize several of them.
Yeah.
There's always extra people and very type A. That would bother me.
Me too. That's why so I was having this conversation with someone a while ago about marriages, and for those of you who know me really well, y'all know I don't want to have kids. I plan to live a child-free life. And if I ever do get married or choose to get married, I don't want kids at my wedding. So the only exceptions I would probably make is if like my siblings have kids, then I can't be like, don't bring your kids. Like, those are the only exceptions I would make. Or if my husband has nephews, fine, you're invited. You have to, because I have to. But I don't want everybody bringing kids, running around. I remember I was a kid too. I remember the ruckus you cause as kids. You run around together, you play together. It's a new venue. Oh my God, I want to see this, I want to see that. And it's like ridiculous, okay? So I saw a post online where someone asked a similar question as me, saying, how is the best way to go about writing on your invitation that you don't want kids invited? You don't want to be rude and be like, no kids invited. So someone suggested, why don't you, on your wedding invitation, write on the bottom, please note this is an adults only venue, which explicitly means do not bring your kids. And there were people responding to that blog, going off and saying, children are a blessing. How can you not want them to be part of your special day? And oh my gosh, shame on you for excluding children from this joyous occasion. They were going off, guys. And I was like, if someone brought a child uninvited to my wedding, I think I would have a fit. I think I would be bridezilla on them. So I think that's just bad etiquette. Like, that's bad manners too, right? Am I overreacting?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
you're not.
Thank you.
Well, my wife and I got married. We didn't really have a lot of children at our wedding. But then it was on a Thursday. So, of course, there wouldn't be because it was during summer vacation. So, but a lot of our friends didn't have kids. Mm-hmm. And the ones that did have kids, they asked ahead of time, hey, are you guys okay with us bringing our kids? Because we know that, they were... Right. They weren't sure if we're going to have alcohol and stuff like that and everything else. And you don't want the kids to accidentally get some champagne thinking it's apple juice, stuff like that. Yeah. And and then our venue was very far away as well. Sorry, my wife was saying something as well. I apologize.
No problem.
She was saying that the venue was over 2 hours away, and as well, that could be difficult for traveling, and not everybody wanted to stay at the hotel in the town where we were at. So, there's stuff like that. I think that when it comes to the wedding, since that's it's about the bride and it's about the two people getting married. I can't just say it's about the bride. It's about the bride and the bride, the groom and the bride, the bridegroom, the groom, bride, the bride, groom, stuff like that. It's about them. You shouldn't put your personal views on their day because it's their day. Yes. So if you want to bring your kids and you can't get a sitter, then ask, be like, hey, we can't get a sitter, we've tried, and can we bring our kids? So one of her friends was like, well, we can't, and we're unsure if we're going to come. And I was like, okay, but bringing a +1 is like, bringing a +1 without saying anything is very rude.
Very entitled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just reminded me, the kicker, by the way, of this blog post was the woman was like, well, if you don't want kids coming to your wedding, you should pay for them to have a sitter. And I was like, but it's not even their kids. It's their one day. It's their one day about them. This woman was like, I don't know where she grew up, but she was adamantly saying, no, you need to book a room for all these kids, shove them in there, pay for the hourly rate of a babysitter, and someone can take care of the kids. But and then she's like, she would be offended if the person wouldn't be able to pay. My whole thing is, it's not your day, right? It's about this couple. And if, for example, you are unable to make it because you have kids, don't begrudgingly say, well, then I can't make it. Just be like, I'm sorry, I can't, no one can look after my kids and no arrangements can be made. So I think I'm going to sit this one out. And on both sides, they shouldn't be mad at this person for not coming, and this person should be mad at the couple for not being able to accommodate their requests. Like, I think people make things way too complicated. I think everyone needs to just chill out a little. Or maybe I'm too chill. I don't know what the disconnect is, but that doesn't seem like a devastating situation to me. It actually seems like, okay, well, I have kids, I can't make it, I can't find a babysitter, guess I'm gonna stay home. It's really simple. Being a decent human being and just sending a gift if you want to get involved somehow is the right choice. Thank you, Marilyn. Yes, basic. Nobody's forcing them to come or bring no one is. It's ridiculous. Okay. If I'm in a relationship with someone and we're on a subway together or something, and an elderly person is standing and the guy doesn't offer his seat, I'll be looking at you. I'll be looking at you. I'll be looking at you hard, bro. I will look at that. So those are so. Oh, and poor hygiene, guys. Poor hygiene. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Oh, another thing that pisses me off that people do is like, if I have a list, guys, of pet peeves. If I'm in the bathroom, right?
Great.
Listen, if I'm in the bathroom, I'm clearly pooping or peeing or on my period or something happening in there. Why are you knocking on the door?
Why are you talking to me? Oh, that's.
Why are you guys? I'm literally in a mall, okay, and I have this whole like ritual of like tissue on the seat, filling up my bottle, and then I go and like I wash myself with water every time I go to the bathroom because I don't carry around wet wipes and I don't like wiping myself with just tissue because then residue is still left over. So like I'll always have a bottle of water and I can wash myself. So okay, it takes me more than 2 minutes than people who just like and you're out. So why are you knocking on the door? Like, is that gonna make me go faster and poop faster? It's not.
Someone actually knocked on the door?
So many times.
What the heck?
I'll be in a mall and they'll be knocking on the door. So many times. Hello? No one else has experienced this?
I've
Like, come in.
Right?
So what are you supposed to say?
Occupied?
One time I opened the door and asked the lady what's up, actually. I was like, what's up? And she's like, oh! And I was like, slam. You know, I was like, because it was ridiculous. Like, why are you knocking on a door in a public restroom? What's wrong with you? Like, you're going to see something. You want to see something. So I'm going to open the door. Okay, hi. Close. Like, stop. Jeez.
It's
crazy.
So annoying. It's
Like,
so annoying. That's so smart. I should probably do that next time. Has anyone walked in on you before, guys? Bathroom? When you're in the bathroom? Has anyone accidentally opened a stall on you?
Yes.
I think maybe just like partially, but it was not their fault. Like the lock like was broken or whatever.
So they only partially opened the door accidentally?
Yeah, and then like, oh shit, like they realized I was in there.
Did they like profusely apologize after, or they were like gone?
Yeah, they apologized, but it's because there was like they didn't know.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like they were just like I don't know, trying to like sneak up on people in bathrooms. I don't know.
You know, just minding over. What you doing in there? You know, don't do that.
Actually, what's really creepy, this is such a weird thing to think about, but I think about this sometimes, like if I'm in the bathroom and you know how there's those little slits?
Right? Have you
gotten like eyeballs?
Let's just say people peek. Like, what would you do? Actually, what would you do? I'm calling the police if you don't look away. Like, what would you do? I don't know what I would do.
Like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, like yell at them really loud, embarrass them. That's
and then they continue peeking. Like, that's scary, guys. If you really think about it, that's really scary. I was thinking about this. I was like, if I'm in the middle of peeing or pooping, I'm clearly not getting up and running after them, right? So do I do this and then they'll just like move to the other side? Like, that's so scary. That's something.
You know that those slits in the bathrooms, I've always wondered. It's like
why are they there?
It's a North America thing. In Europe,
so big.
It's not like that. It's completely like covered. I don't know why we have that in North America. It's not because we're trying to save money and like have smaller doors or anything. But it's like I don't know why.
I don't know.
And
I think it's a big thing,
it up.
Personally.
You would? You looked it up?
I think it's a.
Did Fel say she looked it up?
Yeah, TC and I were looking it up. I don't remember what
was the reason?
I don't think we found anything.
Oh man, that's scary.
I don't remember. But it is so weird because in every single bathroom it has those slits on the side. Like, why don't you just make the door like
bigger?
Yeah,
a little bit bigger.
Little like privacy panels.
Oh,
you think maybe it's for smell, possibly? You know, like trying to
underneath the door, right?
Yeah,
you
there's
can
a lot of
have like
space
space, and it's open at the top.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure there's just like one major, manufacturer that makes like all bathroom doors in North America, and it's just a thing that's just became a thing. It was a bad design decision, but no one's really been like, yes, I'm going to champion the new bathroom door. You know.
Someone needs to take
Now I know
on
how
that
corporate
project.
America works.
Oh my god. They're also easier to mop the floors. What?
What?
Oh, for
Wait,
like
what?
the gaps at the bottom? Are they talking about?
No, the slits.
No,
Wait,
I
what does the
don't
slits
know.
have to do with?
I'm not sure.
But that is a genuine concern of mine. There were kids that came into the bathroom one time when I was in there, and one of them passed by and like did a double take because she saw me in the bathroom, and then she walked away. I was like, weird. But let's just say she was like a creepy kid or like an older person, and they just like stood there. What would I do? I can't do anything really. So then my mind started playing tricks on me, and I was just like, oh my god, that's how the scary movies happen, like when the person's alone in the bathroom and then you see like dark shoes coming underneath and you stand outside your stall and like, what you gonna do when that happens? And then I was thinking about escape routes, and it was a whole thing. But it's creepy stuff, guys. Creepy stuff.
I've had, on the subject of children, I have had multiple children escape their parents, or just like loose children, I don't know, like come into my stall or stick their head under there and be like, hey, what's up?
I have
Like,
always
no!
Yes.
actually.
It's a
Oh yeah, that
genuine
has happened to
fear.
me. Yeah, with the little kids. Yeah, that's happened to me before. There was this little girl. She was like, "What are you doing in there?" And I was like, "Using the restroom." And she's like, "Okay, my mommy was using the restroom too. I just wanted to check on you." I was like, "What?" It was very strange. It was very strange. I was just like, and
Like,
I just hear the mom yelling at her like later, talking about some, stop going underneath the stalls. And I'm like, what are you doing? That she's outside of the stall and you're in the stall. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I know.
weird.
yeah, that's something too. If you're not watching your children in a public place, that's a big red flag for me. Like that's one of those things where I don't play about that. If I see a random child, I don't look the other way. I'm like, no, where are your parents? Where's the guardian looking after you? Like, because anything can happen to that kid. People are terrible. And so, you know, anytime I see a random kid, like, just, I'd be like, where's your mom at? And then I love how the parent come up, oh, what you doing? I'm like, first off, I could have been anybody. And they were standing here alone. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I can't with people like that. So
That's a
you gotta be
good
paying
one
attention.
that you mentioned about parents and like how they handle their kids in public. I think there needs to be a whole set of rules for manners and etiquettes for parents and kids, because some people think the same thing goes for non-human companions, like any kind of animals that people have. And I think that people get so overshadowed by their own love for their child or their dog or their cat or whatever kind of animal that they have, that they forget that there are other people in the world that might not feel the same way about their child or their dog or their cat. Like my mom has a huge like phobia of dogs, because when she was a kid she was chased by a stray dog, and it just absolutely terrified her, and she's never gotten over that fear. So here in Canada, you're supposed to be having your dogs on leashes, unless you go to a dog park and then you can let them out. But someone in our area just like let the dog off the leash, and it ran towards my mom, and it was like a friendly dog, but then because my mom was freaking out and like backing off, the dog started getting aggressive, and that was just a really bad exchange. And then the guy got mad at my mom for, you're scaring my dog, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, bro, but it's your job to first of all not have your dog on the leash, and you're scaring people and you're assuming that everyone's tight with dogs because you are. And I think that's very bad etiquette. That's bad manners, I think.
Making assumptions, yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with little kids. I was in my lobby, and there was a kid that was eating cookies. And you know how when kids that don't have teeth, they eat the cookie and it gets all soggy and disgusting and it's all over their hands? Like, you know, the soggy thing. This child tried to run and hug me with that dirty hands, and the
Not
mom's
with the
looking at
cookie
me.
hands.
With the cookie hands, and the mom's looking at me like, oh, isn't she so adorable? And in my head and heart, I'm like, take your child away from me. Like, this ain't my kid. Like, I really don't care about kids, and I really don't think this whole situation's cute. I think it's gross. Please take it away from me. And I kind of just like stepped away, so she understood that I wasn't interested in that situation. But it's things like that. Like, everyone assumes that this child is so cute. Like, how can you not think the situation is cute?
I know,
right?
when I'm like at a, like, my cousins and stuff have kids, and you know, I'm like contractually obligated to like those kids. So I do. We have a working arrangement. But random people like on the bus or the subway, if I am like doing my introvert time, I got my headphones in, I got my like Switch or mobile game or something, it's not my job to entertain your child.
No.
Like, I'm not gonna let them like climb all up on me and watch what I'm doing. And then people have the nerve to get mad at you.
Yes.
Because they have this societal expectation that because they have this child, everyone must take care of it.
Or because you're a woman, you should have the maternal
right.
instinct to care after a child. No, not everyone has that, bro.
No, not everyone.
But anyone could hand me a dog, and I'd be like, okay, yes, this is good. Thank you.
There you go, and that's your boundary that you're okay with that, right? And but not everyone's like that either. And I think people just need to be more cautious of what other people's tolerances are.
Right.
TC says there's an old internet story about a guy at a grocery store and some kid was crawling around on the floor, gross,
Ew.
and decided to grab and bite into his leg. What? He began telling off. Oh my God, one kid grabbed my zipper one time, like at my crotch area, and it was a very uncomfortable feeling because I didn't know whether to slap the wrist or like I was so caught off guard I didn't know what to do. So I just stood there and I was like, if I move the hand, am I gonna get like assault charges or something? Because people could be like, oh, you touched my child. Cause I'm scared of that these days, like touching someone else's kid. The kid starts crying and it's like, what did you do to my kid? And then if I explain, like, it's just a whole messed up time, guys. Decided to grab and bite his leg. He began telling off the kid when his mom arrived and said, how dare you talk to my child like that? He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's only a child. To which he responded, ma'am, I'm fucking a child.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my God. Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't watch what your kids do. Like, I know when my brother was a little nunu, we'd always like keep our eyes on him. Like, someone would always be like, where is he? What's he doing? And then, bruh, if he stepped away from us, he would get it, bro. When you went home, you'd get a lecture for days. That's why you gotta watch what your kids doing. Yes.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
In airports, it's so bad, I think, especially. Not that anyone's been in an airport recently.
Right.
But
Malls
the last time
too.
I was in one, there was like a 3 or 4-year-old just like face down on the floor at the airport, like at the gate, like licking the floor. And the parents were just like sitting there, you know, just reading a book or whatever. Like,
No.
I guess your child's immune system is going to be really good or something. Oh my God. Like licking the like handrail things in security.
Oh my God.
Don't touch anything in airports. Some child has licked it.
Wrong with people? Oh my God. My parents were super strict. I wasn't allowed to do any of that garbage.
No. Like,
I know.
Never. No. There was
None of those kids are going to go on Manners podcasts, I'll tell you.
no. Or I hope they do one day and be like, I used to be that kid. Not anymore, though. There's a case here in Toronto where there was a person who had their cat, took a cat to a dog park. Took a cat to a dog. You already know this is going to go wrong. So took a cat to a dog park, set the cat down. The dog was off a leash, started running towards the cat, and then the lady who had the cat picked up the cat, but the cat was freaking out, so it started scratching the owner. And then the owner is like now suing the dog owner because she's saying that your dog scared my cat, so therefore I'm suing you. But I think they both are kind of at fault. Like, first of all, why are you bringing the cat to the dog park, right? Why are you setting it down? And then the dog owner is more like, if you see your dog being enticed by this cat, you should be grabbing it and like holding it, telling the owner of the cat to maybe get out of the park or leave because you're freaking out my dog while you're still at a safe distance, because how is that interaction ever going to go well? Or most likely not going to, it's most likely not going to go well, right? It's things like that that just kind of blow my mind, that people are not as cautious of. It's full of parents with things that are playing on the... Yeah, Marilyn, exactly. Chuck E. Cheese is the worst place, by the way. It's full of parents who think the place is a literal babysitter.
Oh my goodness.
Joanne
Chuck E.
says,
Cheese.
I'm bad
Please don't get me started on Chuck E. Cheese. Oh my gosh.
I'm bad with my nephews. I can't tolerate their behavior every single day. Yeah, I have to tolerate their behavior every single day at home. Oh God, I'm sorry.
That's too much.
That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much
I'm
kid
sorry,
time.
Johan.
Yeah.
Well, and a part of having good manners is and good etiquette is dealing with people who don't, because like you were saying, Raven, for the cat in the dog park example, like, even though you're not in the wrong because you have a dog at a dog park, like, you're fine, you still can't just be like, well, there's a cat there, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
You're unfortunately, at times, you are responsible for your response to other people having bad manners.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's
You
true.
should have, you had to be careful, because a lot of times what happens is that they don't realize it's a bad manner until the situation arises. Especially if no one's told them before. And then you're like, well, why didn't you think of it this way? And a lot of times people don't.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there analyzing themselves. They're not that self-conscientious. So, they'll just keep going on willy-nilly with their day thinking, this couldn't possibly happen. I don't know how some people think that way, but some people do. And, anything's possible. And I think that when it comes to manners and etiquette, is that you actually understand that to an extent, that because anything is possible, that what I'm doing, I need to be, I need to make sure that what I'm doing isn't going to cause, because a lot of times it's indirect harm versus direct harm. So I think personally that, kind of helps. And then, back to what Foggy was saying about, trying to make sure that he didn't hit someone's child and the parent goes ballistic. I think that people need to be watching their kids personally. That's just as a personal feeling. People should watch their kids, because as a child, you're not thinking about your safety. You're not thinking about, there's something way bigger than you that can like harm you very badly. And as a parent, that is your job and your duty. I said duty. As a parent, to like really, make sure that you're protecting them.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a level of manners and etiquette that every parent should keep, is the protection of your kid.
Yeah.
And if you're not taking the time to protect your kid, then I personally feel that you shouldn't have them. Personally, that's how I feel. If you're not going to protect that little life, then don't have it.
Agreed. Because contrary to popular belief, it's not for everyone. Parenthood is not for everyone, and that's okay. You shouldn't be pressured to have kids. You shouldn't feel pressured to have kids. You shouldn't do it to save a marriage. You shouldn't do it to save a relationship. You shouldn't do it because who's going to take care of me when I get older. It should genuinely be like, I want to create a family with my partner, and I want to create a good human being, like an asset to society, an asset to my family, like a good addition to my family. I think oftentimes, especially with guys, I'll ask them, because they will judge, they're not shy to judge me about my decision to have kids. So then I flip it right back at them, and I'm like, okay, why do you want to have kids? And then suddenly they're like, who's going to take care of you when you get older? How do I push on my line, my name? I don't want to be the last, whatever. Let's just say their name is Tea Tree. I don't want to be the last Tea Tree in the world. My name has to go on. I'm like, who? So your reasons are so much better than mine? I don't think so.
Either way,
It's
it's a selfish decision in that, not that like it's a bad thing, but it's so personal.
It's so personal.
And do you think bothering the other person is gonna get them to change their mind?
Right.
Like, no.
Right.
Sorry, Donna. Just because you think I should have a child doesn't mean I'm gonna. Are you in the relationship?
Are you going to be taking care of the child through the nights and through the mornings and, you know, sacrificing a little bit of your sex life? True story. It happens. I've talked to a lot of people sacrificing bits of and pieces of your relationship with your partner, because it goes from being about your relationship to like, what does the kid need? How do we just make sure the kid's okay? Is it healthy? Is it sick? Oh my God. And like the focus is not about you guys anymore. It's at least for a few years about the kid. So I think making a well-informed decision about what's good for your future and what you can and can't handle, that's, in my opinion, like that's maturity. It's not just doing what society tells you to do. Social norm. Yeah, that's the worst one that I've learned. It's just what you do. Or the worst one I've heard is like, it's gonna get really boring with just you and your husband. Aren't you eventually gonna like need something else? Then why are you getting married to this person in the first place?
Yeah, try taking up painting or like, you know,
have a hobby. Jeez.
Yeah.
Have a hobby.
I'm so bored. I'm gonna have a child.
Yes.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Have you tried video games?
Have you tried talking to your partner maybe about other things? It's blows my mind the things people talk about. Slay says kids are so hard to stop doing things even with careful attention. When my younger brother was a toddler, there were these tiny red pellets in a bowl on the ground in the lobby. I stopped him from grabbing it a few times, but he kept going at it and managed to grab some and eat it. I told my mom, who told the management. Turns out it was rat poison. I had to have my oh my God. What the hell?
I am so glad your brother is okay.
What the hell?
Me too.
God.
Oof.
Yeah, Foggy, that's such a... That story aggravates me so much because they're getting mad at you for being protective over their child that they should have been looking at in the first place. Get your child in order, exactly. Like, if you can't take care or control your kids, don't even have them in the first place. Yes. And do you know how many people sexually abuse their children and physically abuse their children? Like, those people should clearly not be having kids. Like, it just shouldn't be a thing. Like, I get we're living in a fast-moving world where everything happens very quickly, but such much attention should be given to their offspring. They're doing, 100%. It's shocking that people don't focus on that. So I'm gonna go through a speed round of drinking, of manners and etiquettes in different categories, and we're just gonna talk a little bit about them and their importance to us. So in terms of drinking and eating before everyone's food has arrived. Do you do it? Do you watch people who do it? How do you feel about that? What do you guys think? You guys can just go at it.
I don't do it.
I don't do it either.
I have to wait.
I feel weird. Like,
I know.
I'm getting
like even with my family, they're like, start eating. And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, even when they're like encouraging, like, no, if you don't eat, the food's gonna get cold. Eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And then my grandma will though. She'll just start eating.
Yeah. Well, see, there's certain
but
people
she's like the older.
Exactly.
Yeah, she can do it.
Like, my dad will start eating. I'm like, what you gonna do, right?
Yeah. My dad. I think everyone in my family actually does just do it, but I can't unless like I have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, and I say I'm sorry. I have to like just finish because I have an obligation. But otherwise, like. Just feels too weird.
Yeah, it's true.
Same with like friends. If like your food comes like earlier than everyone else's at a restaurant, I'm not gonna start.
Yeah, I will eat it cold. I don't mind, but like I'm not eating before everyone else. It just feels very strange to me. I can't do it.
Same.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm the same. Unless it's like a casual meal where like the eating is staggered for some reason, like that would be okay.
Like appetizers or something.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like when you have a bunch of people over and the eating time like isn't isn't like set or something, or maybe like something is available earlier or something. But like if it's just like the four of you at a dinner or something, no, I'm waiting. And it almost doesn't need to be said anymore, because I feel like if there's any manner that's like the most widely accepted by everybody, it's like not chewing with your mouth open and not like slurping really loudly. You know, like just a lot of people don't do that sort of thing naturally. If
I think
anybody gets
chewing
a
with
manner,
the mouth open is really gross. That sound is very disgusting. That's a very gross sound. It's very
I
gross.
can't listen to ASMR like eating pickles or something like that. It just does the same.
Oh, does
thing.
it? I've never heard that. But I was the first time exposed to the sound of someone eating with their mouth open. Like I was always told about that growing up, like don't do it. So like I never heard it, and like none of my friends ever did it until just like 7 years ago or so. I was eating with a coworker and I'm eating my food, and all of a sudden I hear that sound. I was like, what is that? And then I look over and I see her just like casually looking out into the world with her mouth open, and I was like, no wonder my parents told me not to do that. It sounds terrible. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That was. And Kaicho has a good point in that slurping can be respectful in specific cultures.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, actually.
Like, when you eat like noodles, it's a sign that it's like
very
good.
delicious.
It's like really delicious. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't do it, but I because it's still weird to me. but yeah, you'll like if you go like in China, like at least if I go to like a noodle place, like people will be like slurping it.
Same
it's
thing
just
with
I guess it's the
burping,
way they eat too. Like even at home, like if we have noodles, because we're eating with chopsticks.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just like I don't know.
Is it because it's loud? Is that why slurping is bad?
It's I think it's an olfactory thing, sensibility, type deal with your ears, because it slaps both of the bones, the malleus and the in your ears.
Wow.
So that can be uncomfortable because it's the two bottom ones and it's not the two top ones. So,
science behind it. I didn't know that. Wow. I didn't know it was that deep. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so I know a lot of random weird medical facts, just random stuff.
That's neat.
I didn't know that.
Like because of the way it resonates in your ears, most people's ears are the two bottom bones are more sensitive than the two top bones. So, because there's three little bones: the malleus, the incus, and the stapes.
No, I didn't know that.
There's three bones in your ear, and so when you're doing slurping, it hits the two of the bones, and it's uncomfortable for most people. Other people, when they get used to it, it doesn't bother them because you become it's called sensory numbness after a certain amount of time. And then if you're not used to it, then it'll be like, what is that? And then if you are, you're like, oh, okay, I know what that is, because your mind automatically knows what it is, so it doesn't bother with it. So that's it's fun science fact.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
I'm gonna go eat a lot of soup after this, and I want to see if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My partner's gonna hate me.
Let us know. Well, Tanepi says that her roommate eats really gross. Tanepi, you want to tell us how it's gross?
Wait, raging?
Oh, wait, does he live with RP? Oh my god, does RP eat weird? Oh my god, give us the tea.
Yeah, I do need to know the tea on that. But I normally don't eat with everyone because I have a medical condition where I have to eat within certain times because I have to take medicine for it. So I would love to wait, and it bugs me so much that I can't wait. But I love to wait and eat with everyone, but I can't because of blood sugar. I have diabetes, so I have to make sure I eat so I don't pass out or stuff like that. So
yeah. I think the only exception I make is if it's appetizers. Like if I order nachos for everybody and I'm offering nachos to everybody and everyone's welcome to dig in. But if someone's like, no, I'm going to wait for my meal, then I will eat the nachos. Like I will eat the appetizer. I won't like wait till their meal comes and then enjoy the appetizer, then enjoy my meal. So like
that makes sense. I think
that I would make an exception there. and then there's me being a slow eater. Yeah, I think, see, if someone actually has a condition or they have a reason where they're eating quickly, that's completely understandable. But I find it very awkward when I'm in the company of people who finish way ahead of me, like they're very fast eaters, and then we're spending the rest of the 20 minutes just me eating. Like, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. I've been in multiple situations like that, and I even sometimes had to like kind of just like gently hold the person's arm and just be like, you're eating really fast, like can you please slow down a little bit? And it makes me feel so awkward because I'm like, I'm not your mom, I feel weird doing this, right? But it's chill, slow down, my goodness.
Yeah. I used to like so a long time ago, after I finished college, or when I was looking for a job, I had all these like interview dinners with companies, and like I hated them so much.
Why?
Because we would always go to these really nice restaurants, and I would really want to eat the food so badly, but they would be talking to me and I would want to eat, but I'd have to look at them and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I have to time it so that they're eating, but when they're eating, it's when I'm talking, and then when they're talking, I don't want to be eating.
Yes,
So it's like, there's never
When do I
any time
eat?
for me to eat. And every single time I had so much food left. So then I had to strategize. And whenever I could get a bite in, I would just put as much as I could in my mouth. I was like, this is the only way that I'll be able to like finish my meal.
Oh my
It wasn't meant,
God,
but
it was
I
a thing.
I
Wow.
didn't know what else I could do. But it was always somewhere really nice and like, oh, I want to eat the food so badly. And it's not like I can take it home. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
because they're like paying for it and everything, and like, oh God.
That is really important what Fel just mentioned. I didn't even think about it because I wouldn't think to do it. But when I was watching a video on manners and etiquettes, they said that if you're just out with your friends or whatever, it's okay to take out, like take your stuff, leftovers home. But if you're on a business trip or a business meeting, do not ask for leftovers, especially because you ain't paying for it. Like that's awkward. Don't do that. So
Yeah.
that was interesting that Fel mentioned that one.
But
Talking
food waste.
Sorry, I know.
Uh-oh.
I know.
It
I
is.
know.
I'd be like, can I have your food too? Like you're not gonna.
You know, see, that's really interesting that Lee mentioned that, because I was raised to not do that. I was raised to just like eat whatever you have and that's it. Even when I was growing up, my parents told me like, I'd rather you starve than you go ask people for money. Like, hey, can you buy me lunch? Like, if you didn't take food from home, you'd rather you starve than go ask people for money. Like it was just like drilled into me. So if there were ever those rare occasions where I was like, yo, can you buy me a cookie or something, I would like go home and scrape and find those $2 and give that to my friend the next day, because I'm like, I can't have that hanging over me. Like I can't. So I think for me, that was always kind of like drilled into. I was going somewhere with this and I forgot.
Yeah, you were raised only eating what you have, and food waste.
Food waste, yes, thank you. So when I go out and if I'm done my food and I don't want to take it as leftovers and someone says like, oh, if you're not going to finish that, or I usually will say like, listen, just letting everyone know I didn't touch this and this, and if anyone wants to go right ahead. I don't look down on people that will be like, yeah, sure, I'll eat the rest of your food. I know that's something that my parents' generation would probably look down upon. Like they would kind of like look at you a little strange, like, oh, is it like are you poor? Like, do you not have the money to buy food? Is that why you're doing this? But I don't look at it like that. I actually am so thankful when someone's like, I'll totally eat it instead of me tossing it out. So I think that's something that's interesting from generation to generation that's changed, because we were drilled into like, don't eat from other people, don't do this, and I really don't care that much if people want to eat my food. That's cool. I'm okay with that.
I'm
Yeah,
curious
my-
about- Oh, go ahead, Artie.
No, I was gonna say that the way I was raised was to finish your food, and then if you didn't finish it, you would wrap it up and do like leftovers, or if you know you weren't gonna eat the leftovers, you need to give it to someone else in the family, but you don't like
Toss it
really
out.
take. Yeah, you don't throw it out. Like food waste is something to try to avoid.
Yeah.
You know. And then I personally, as a minimalist, I don't like wasting anything. So I don't take a lot of things. And then when I do, if I'm not going to eat something, I know that I'll have to eat it tomorrow. Like, even if it was a meal that I'm like, I really don't want to eat leftovers, I'll still eat it the next day because I don't want to waste it and stuff like that. So that's just how I, was raised too, was to do with food, is to not like throw it out and waste it and stuff. So.
Yeah. But on the same vein, like this like finish your, like, clean your plate, there are starving children in Africa thing, like it's also taught a generation of children to ignore their hunger cues, like to keep eating past the point of fullness. There's a lot there, but
I didn't think of that. It's true.
Yeah, that's a lot to put on a kid. Just like as a parent, you may or may not know the metabolic, like, rate of food that your kid needs, because it's always different. But yeah,
I didn't think of that.
I'm curious. So when my parents first came to America, my mom told me she told me a story that when she first came here, like, they were invited to a American family's, like, dinner or whatever, and it was like just them, and they finished eating, and then the out of courtesy, the family offered my mom and dad to take home, like, some leftovers, because they said, "Oh, I saw that you really enjoyed that. Do you want to take that home?" And at the time, my mom was like, "What? Why are they trying to give us these leftovers? That's really rude and weird of them to do this, right?" Because like, if you have leftovers, you wouldn't, like, in her, she didn't know, because back then she's like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is so strange," because like in our culture, like, I mean, in Chinese culture, you wouldn't offer, like, leftovers to somebody.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but she's like, "Yeah, but I learned from that, and now, like, if people, if she sees that somebody really likes something, she'll even offer it."
Oh,
but
that's
she didn't know. She thought it she thought it was, like, bad at first, and she thought it was weird, but then she learned from that.
Yeah, I know my parents are like that too. They're just like, but they take it in the opposite way. Like, no, we don't want. We don't need their food. Let them keep it. It's fine. It was really delicious, but like, it's kind of like, I guess, a pride thing, right? Yeah. Which I don't understand, but I think my parents, as they're getting older, they've like kind of eased up on that. Like, if they really like it and they actually connect with the family and they understand the family and they like the family and they know the family won't look at it in a negative way, they will accept the gesture. And it is a form of trust when you do take someone's food home, because you're trusting that this food is not, like, poisoned, it's good food, it's given with good intentions, and you're accepting it as like, "Oh, sure, I'll take this into my home." So I get it, but at the same time, I was like, you don't have to be prideful. It's food.
Yeah.
Right?
Something that really, really, really annoys me, and I guess this is more so like manners becoming too much.
Okay.
It also has to do with our culture. It's like, when we go to a restaurant, like in China, my relatives will, like, put food onto my plate because it's like, "Oh, you want to eat that? Like, this is so good," and they'll just, like, pile stuff into our plates and everything, and then we'll be like, "No, it's okay, thank you, that, like, I don't want any more." But they think I'm being polite by refusing when I'm like, "No, I really don't want any more." And like, it's not just with us, it's like, I see this so often, to the point where they're like almost in an argument and they're like standing up like, no, stop, I don't want it. Yes, you do, don't be polite, like, and it gets to a point where I'm like, I actually don't know what's going on right now. I can't tell if you want this or if you don't want it. Like, I don't know which side, like, who's what, and this happens in my family too. And I'm just like, I'm like, I just tell my parents, like, whatever I'm telling you, it's like, you just know it's straight up. If I want to eat that, it means I want to. If I don't, it's like, I don't want to. But like, my grandma will do this thing. My grandma and my mom, they'll do this thing where I'm like, I actually don't know if you're trying to, like, clean the leftovers or if you actually want to eat that.
What are you doing?
Or not. Like, I'm just confused every day.
That's an example of a high context language like, and high context culture and language. Like a lot of Asian cultures are considered to be high context. Have you heard of that term before?
Yeah, in my international business class a long time ago. It's
Yes.
like less with words, like not as straightforward.
Right. The meaning is more implied than specifically spoken. Like American communication is viewed as very low context, and that Americans are viewed as very blunt in a lot of parts of the world because they'll tell you exactly what they mean for the most part. And the high context is there's a lot more. You got to consider like the respect status, like the respect status. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything quite as much as that, but I experienced that in between. I live in Colorado, and Coloradans are pretty friendly, like direct people. And then I moved to Minnesota, and all of a sudden I was super assertive and considered really blunt when I'm really not.
Oh,
but just because Minnesota is extremely high context, there's just a culture in like giving and receiving gifts, like the language that you use. Like no one says, "Man, you're being a weirdo" in Minnesota. They go, "Oh, that's interesting." And it took me months to learn that. I was like, "Oh no." Everyone thinks I'm bizarre. Like, people have been telling me that's so interesting for like 6 months.
Oh.
But and the food culture is really interesting too. You cannot get out of someone's house without them giving you like all the food in their fridge. Like,
Oh my
they'll
god.
give you their own leftovers from like restaurants. It's so weird. Like,
It's
it was just
very
so bizarre.
homey. That sounds like very much so. Wow.
And there's this concept of the Minnesota long goodbye, where at worst cases, goodbyes the night before can take until, brunch the next morning. It's just like, oh, well, it's late. Better stay for some scones and watch the news. Oh, now it's too late to leave. We'll just make up a spare bed for you in the attic.
Wow.
Stay for breakfast. Want a coffee?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. And then the customary way of leaving is while you're backing your car out of their driveway, they should follow you and wave until you're out of sight. It's just it's just interesting how even like within a culture, like within America,
there's
how
like
different.
subcultures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I have that expectation of my partner. Like if I go into the building, I want them to stay outside of the building till I get into the elevator, then wave to me, and then you can drive off or something like that. I don't know. I think that's just, I find it strange if my guy just drops me off and then drives away, and I'm just like, bro, I'm just like still buzzing in. I'm still going to my lobby, so I gotta go to the elevator. What if something happens to me along the way too? Like, you weren't there, you didn't see it. I think
there was a guy.
There was a guy.
No, I went on this. Well, I met him on like an online like dating app thing like years ago, and so we spent like an entire day together, and it was a great
I love
day.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we went back to his place to like hang out and like watch some TV, and then after I was leaving, it was like super late. It was like midnight or something.
Yeah.
And he didn't walk me to my car, and I was like, "That's
it."
That was it. Like, I mean, a few other little things as well, but
that was the icing on top. You're like, that's it.
Yeah, I was like, nah.
Common sense.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a little thing. I don't know if that was too harsh, but I was like, if you can't even walk me to my car when it's that late, like, I mean, he did ask. He's like, "Oh, do you want me to walk you to your car?"
No.
I know, you just gotta do it. Why ask?
No.
So he thought of it, but he didn't do it. It's just like, forget it.
No. That's gonna, like, I'm sorry. As I'm getting older, I have absolutely no, like, barely tolerance for things like that. Like, I knew a guy, it was just a friend, but I think he was like trying to get with me. So he was, so that's what blows my mind. It's like, you know, I'm not interested, but you're trying to impress me. So shouldn't you put your like extra best foot forward? So so we were hanging out, and then I was leaving, and I had to go grab something from my place and then come back and give it to him. Like I had to basically like leave his place, go get something and bring it back to him. Something along those lines. So basically I had to leave at night, right? I had to take the subway. So he asked me, he's like, do you want me to walk you to the subway station? This is my rule, guys, okay? This is my rule. You tell me what you want to do, okay? You tell me that, hey, listen, I would really like to walk to you to the subway station because I think it's really dark outside. I'm concerned about you, but I understand if you would rather walk alone. What would you like? Like, you tell me what you want to do for me, because then I don't want to be like, yes, I'd like you to walk me to the subway station without you stating that you want to do that. So state what you want first. And then it's the same thing as if you are, I talked about this in The Power of Words in that Real Talk, where I was talking about apologizing. State what you want, right? I would really like for us to be able to work this out. I will do whatever I can to try to earn back your trust. I will do this, and this. I'm sorry because X, this, Y, and this, but I understand if you aren't able to forgive me. Like, don't ask for forgiveness. Say that these are the ways I'm willing to earn back your forgiveness, but I understand if you can't do that, right? Like, tell them what you want to do, tell them what you want out of this. And same thing with dating someone, right? I really like you, I want to see where this goes, but what do you feel? Or like, how do you feel? Instead of saying like, so what's going on? You know, like I always appreciate that. So he lost me at that. I was like, bro, it's never gonna work out. I again, it might be harsh, but like,
No, that's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Lily's just running around the background. I'm sorry. She's just running all over the place. She's like, what?
She's excited. She's
That's my dog niece.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dog niece. She's so awesome. She's an awesome puppy.
She's a cutie.
But yeah, when I was dating my wife, I always made sure that she got into the house safely, because I was the one driving, and I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure
Yeah.
That she was safely to where she's going, because anything can happen. Not because of where she was staying, not because I was trying to, make any good impressions, but personally, I would have felt some kind of way if I had not seen her safely to where she was going, and then something happened to her, because I would be the last person who saw her, or something. You know what I mean? Like, and I do not want to answer those questions. And then I watch too much Criminal Minds, and nah, you can't just like let somebody just walk off, and you know that they're that they're going somewhere and it's late, it's after 9 o'clock. You got to make sure people are safe to where they're going. Like, if like when I go to conventions and stuff and I see someone alone and it's late, I'm like, hey, do you need me to walk you to your room so that way, you're all good? And they're like, well, I don't really know you. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. I'm a stranger, but I just want to make sure you get to where you're going, okay? And they're like, well, I appreciate that, because at the conventions, that's how you're supposed, that's like, proper etiquette, is to make sure.
Type of situation.
Yeah.
Right, you make sure everybody's safe, because we're there to have fun. So, we don't want anything to happen to you while you're out having a good time. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about it. That like when cause when I've dated a few guys, in my life, and most of them were very chivalrous. They walked me, come to the door. They, walk me to the door, make sure I got into the house okay. They would make sure I had eaten properly, just certain little things here and there. But, I just like, I just personally like when I'm the person that's like trying to, I guess, make a good impression. I try to just make sure the person's safe. That's like my biggest thing is safety, because anything can happen. They could get sick, while walking back in. Then they need, and it's
Someone
just
could
easy.
jump them at their door. You just drove away in the nighttime and they're fumbling for their keys, and they just get jumped right there.
every horror movie
I know.
ever.
I watched
Every horror.
You're like, Raven, that's a scene from a horror movie.
Trying to
Yeah,
get my
exactly.
I can't find the
And then they
house.
drop it. Don't forget to drop. You have to drop it. Don't forget that. You have to
Oh,
drop
oh
it.
my goodness! And I'm trying to pick them up. Oh,
And then you have to trip as you're running. Don't forget that one too.
Oh,
I know it all. Oh, hi.
hi.
What do you guys think is good manners and etiquette after a first date? Like, do you wait to text them, or do they have to text first, or do they even need to text, I had a good time? Or what do you guys think?
Oh, I text right away and everything. Sorry, my sister's talking in the background. I apologize. But I text right away after I get back to where I am safely, so that way they know that I got where I'm going to safely. Stop licking me in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I would want my partner the person I'm going on a date with to message me and say, I had a really nice time with you. I look forward to when we can do it again, or something like that. Or please let me know when you got home safe. Like, if you don't say things like that, that's not working out for you, buddy. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I do watch for those things. I think that's important to me. Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, like I think that making sure someone gets home safe, like checking in and stuff, is good. But I think that some people do the like, well, I can't text back within 30 minutes
I hate
because
that
will make me seem too eager. And it's like, it really doesn't matter.
Really
No one's sitting there with a
timer.
with a stopwatch.
Yeah.
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 Like, I know that some people, like, when I was younger, I don't think this happens in adult life, I hope, but you know, they like set a timer for their responses and be like, I have to wait 20 minutes before I respond. It's like, or you could talk to them like a normal person.
Oh my god.
But okay.
I
All
did
right.
wait when I was younger. I just don't have time. I don't have time for it now.
Bro,
But, like,
right?
when I was like in like college, like way back in college,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like I don't want to reply like in a minute, like
Right,
a few
right.
seconds after they texted me. Like I have to look like I have like somewhat of a life, you know, like even though I'm not doing anything, just literally waiting for them to text me.
Yeah.
But like I'd have to like wait, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but and I don't do that now.
I think that's part of growing up, right? We've all done some stupid shit that we look back and we're like, why did I do that? Like, that's so immature.
Yeah.
Like, that is so immature. But the fact that we're not that person anymore, I think that's what's really commendable, because we've grown from that. We don't play those games anymore. Ain't nobody got
Yeah.
time for those games. I really don't. I don't
Yeah,
Yeah,
got
that kind of
time.
goes into what you said earlier about growing and being a better person. You know, is that as you get older, you realize that those little games that you used to play
yeah.
don't really help you with anything.
Yeah.
It's a pretense that doesn't help with what you actually want, because it's better to just ask and get the no or yes than to sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna sit here and wait 2 to 3 days. I really want to talk to him though. Then talk to him. You
Then
know,
talk
it's
to him,
that
yeah.
simple. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Honestly, if someone responded to me within like minutes, I'd be like, ooh,
Yeah.
that person's super into
Yeah, me too. I'm like, that's working out for you.
It's so silly too, because it's like there's been so many guys that I've dated that like they take forever to text, and then it's like when we're hanging out, their phone is always with them. It's like, okay, like
Mhm. Clearly you saw
I
it.
think you're just doing this on purpose,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes.
Gotta be aloof
Ugh.
and mysterious.
Those are the
You can do that while you're sitting next to me, and you don't have to do that over the phone. That's crazy.
I think another
Is it-
first date etiquette is the kissing. I feel like some people rush the whole kissing situation because it's so normalized in our society to kiss on a first date. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're comfortable with it. But just know that there are some people that aren't comfortable with that, and those people do exist. So like, read the room, like read the vibes of the person that you're with. Don't just assume, well, the date went well, therefore I have to get a kiss. There have been many guys that I've talked to where their stance on kissing is like, if I don't get a kiss on the first date, that means that the date went poorly. No.
Means I ate too much sushi and Like, I want to go brush my teeth.
Or I just don't know you like that yet. Like, maybe for some people, kissing holds a very high value. Like a really high value. I'm not saying that people who kiss on the first date, it doesn't. But I'm just saying maybe it takes a little longer for people to feel like you've earned that. And like everyone has different levels, right? Some people sleep with each other on the first date, and that's okay too. But you can't assume that everyone's like that. Or you can't assume that just because they didn't, that means they don't like you. And you go through this whole sad hole of like, oh, she don't like me, she don't do this. It's just, no, everyone's different, right? My friend was in a situation where she purposely wore red lipstick because she didn't want the guy to kiss him, because some guys don't like getting lipstick on them or something. And he like leaned in for the kiss because she was dropping him home, and she was just like, good night, and that's that. And she didn't even lean in or anything, but he like went all the way to her side to like go in for it. And she's like, oh, I have red lipstick on. And I was like, that's the best you could come up with? You couldn't say like, I'm not ready or something? She's like, I have red lipstick on. And he's like, oh, I don't care. So she's like, oh. So then she just ended up kissing him, but she was like, that was so rude. I was like, I agree with you, but I don't, because you were not transparent with him. He didn't know he messed up because you didn't tell him he messed up. So how is he supposed to know, right? I think that's one thing that a lot of people can benefit from, is just read the room, like Tony is stressing right now. And same thing with sex. I feel like not everyone is comfortable with having sex with people on their first date or second date, or this whole third date rule, which is so silly. It like, if you want to have sex on the second date, do it. Third date, do it. But like, there shouldn't be a rule that, okay, well, we've made it to the third date, bro. It's gonna be the night. It's gonna be the night. It's not, bro. Some people might want you to wait for like a few months, and it's okay, right? Maybe they want to get to know you more. Right, just be respectful. And then don't get butt hurt if they turn you down. I think it's so hot when a guy can like take rejection as like, okay, I totally respect that and I understand that. You know what? We'll go at your pace, and you tell me when you're ready, and you let me know. And they're not saying it begrudgingly. They genuinely mean like, I respect you. I'm not in it for that. Like, I genuinely enjoy my time with you. And if it comes down to that, that's awesome. But if it doesn't, I'm cool with that too. And then they don't call you like, oh, you're such a prude and all of that. I think you can tell a lot about a person when you reject them, like how they react, or when you turn them down. Wait, is that not how guys are? No, Arctic.
20th date for me.
Just like,
well,
there's nothing wrong in that. Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, there's also nothing wrong in saying like, hey, say at the end of the first date or whatever, you feel like it's going well, you're getting good vibes, like there's nothing wrong with asking, can I kiss you? Like, in fact, it doesn't ruin the mood. If someone was gonna kiss you, they're still gonna kiss you if you ask them. Yeah. You know? And if they're not into it, then you don't have to do the like awkward head dodge, and I feel like it's even worse just to yeah, exactly. Thank you, Marty. You're dodging some hands or something.
I was just thinking the same thing, because lips are is the most sensitive part of your body. Is your lips. Is because your lips feel everything. So your lips can tell subconsciously and consciously whether you really vibe with this person or whether or not you don't. Your lips won't lie. That's one thing that, like, with sensories, like, your lips won't lie to you. So if you're really feeling this person and you feel something for them, whether it's, with dating, it's like, sexual, or if it's with friendship, if you kiss a friend on the cheek and you're like, oh, I feel so good about it, and stuff like that, your lips won't lie to you. They let you know how you actually feel about people. But it's also very dangerous because, because they're very sensitive. It can also misread signals too. Because you could kiss someone and you're like, wow, that was fantastic. My socks are blown off. I can't breathe. And like,
it could just be that you were horny. right?
Right.
And it could have been anybody's lips, really, right?
Right, exactly. It could have been just that was one of those days where
Yeah.
it didn't matter whose lips. It was lips time.
Yeah.
Like, and your body craves things that you don't always consciously know. So, that's why, like, it's better to just ask, like what Lee said. It's better to just ask and be like, hey, can I kiss you? Like, on my very first date with every person I've ever dated, that's
Yeah.
like, I wanted to kiss him because I was like, well, let me kiss him. Because,
That's how
they wanted
you
to
want to maybe figure out.
right, because that's how I figure out. So I would ask, and they would either tell me yeah, or I would get yanked by my shirt and pulled in, and I'm like, okay, you know, I mean, if you gonna do it like that, that's fine. But it let me know where I stood with the
Yes.
person, and it made it easier for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna, we're just friends, or something else. And a lot of times what it would end up happening, which is why I stopped doing it, was that the person would feel something more than what I felt,
Ooh.
and they would be really into me, and I was not really that into them, because after I kissed them, I was like,
Damn.
no, I'm not feeling it. And then they would be like, well, I want to really like continue to do this, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Maybe I was wrong, maybe my lips did lie to me, so I would give it a shot and a chance, and stuff would just fall apart. And I think if people are just more honest about what they want, more honest about
Yes.
how they feel about things, it'd be
Yes.
easier. And that took me a long time to really like grasp that. I'm 33, and I'm still grasping that there's just, you can't please everybody, like you just can't. And so and you got to be honest about what you feel about stuff, so that way you're not hurting people indirectly and stuff. So that's, yeah. It's just, yeah, that's just how I feel. Kiss the tail.
I think we live in a very hyper sexualized society, so it's always like that's always the way to examine the weight of a relationship. And I really feel like that's why it really hit me when Fel said she had that one date where she spent the whole day with the person. And I love those types of scenarios, because I haven't really dated a lot of people. I think I've had 2 long-term relationships, and those ones were actually, all my relationships have been like, we've been friends first, and then it just organically turns into something more. I've never like done a date, like I've never actually been on a date, like I meet someone online and then we go on a date. So I don't know what that feels like. That concept terrifies me. I just don't know how I would act, and I would just look at them automatically as a friend. And I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it. So like, I just don't do it. But I think for what Fel said about spending time with that person and genuinely creating a connection with them, I think for me that's so important before any of the physical stuff. I mean, some of us have been in situations where we have the physical, but the heart is not there, and this person doesn't just like hit you. So last week, my topic was intimacy, and you can have sexual intimacy with someone, but if you don't have emotional intimacy or physical intimacy where their touch just makes you feel like they're there for you, and they're here, and they're present, and they're with you, and they see you, then sex is just sex, right? It's just, you're getting your fix and it's fun, and then that's the end of that. Like there's nothing heavier that lingers there. So I really feel like we need to focus more, if we're choosing to look for a life partner. There's nothing wrong with not wanting one, but if you're looking for a life partner, don't feel pressured to sleep with someone or kiss someone or be physically or sexual with someone if you don't feel ready. There's so many people that get pressured into things like that, boys and girls, men and women, however which way you identify. That's real shit. Like, people get pressured into things like that. Or I've actually experienced or heard from my friends that there have been guys that have told them, like, if you really liked me, you would sleep with me. So clearly, if you haven't slept with me yet, it means that you don't like me, which is very untrue. Huge red flag. Dip set out of there. And TC, the 3rd date rule is you should have sex by the 3rd date, or that basically nullifies the relationship. Like, it doesn't mean it's going well. Yeah, so that's what that's about. Potter's like, your line would 100% work on me. Yeah, I don't know. That might take me off guard if you said something like that to me on a first date. I think I'd be like super... I'm weird, bro, because I'm like, I joke a lot about sex and I'm like very open about it and I talk about it and I'm like creating awareness and all this. But like, if I am really into someone and they start talking to me like that first date, I'm like... I get really shy. I don't think I can handle it. I think I get a little like, oh my god, let's talk about something else. So we were initially talking about eating and drinking etiquette, and one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, how do you feel about people picking food off your plate? Or does it depend? Right. Like your pizza or like your hot what's that called? Chicken wings come and I'm like, oh my god, that looks so good. And I just like take one off your plate.
I wouldn't do it. But well, okay, like a lot of times like usually if I go out to eat with people, I usually do get appetizers for everyone.
Yeah.
But if they're just like, I don't know, I guess I haven't actually experienced that. Where someone just like
grabbing off your plate.
Yeah.
It is so common, eh?
I haven't.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually common.
I don't think I've experienced it. Like with my friends, we'll usually like, because we like to split food and stuff, but like,
that's true, yeah.
We usually just like give each other stuff. Like, hey, try this, try this.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, but we've never like grabbed. I've never just grabbed someone's food. I've never done that once.
Me neither. I've never.
I mean, I do that to people that I'm really close with.
Yeah.
Like
you've established that they're okay with that. You're okay with that. Okay.
Yeah, my boyfriend, like, I joke that it's like a contractual obligation. If you're in a relationship with me, I can take your food, and vice versa. Like, that's just, obviously, if he cared about it, like, I would adjust.
Right.
It's only if both people are okay with it. So same with my friends and parents and stuff. We all just yoink food from each other.
Because that's acceptable in your relationships with these people. Right. But
if an acquaintance did that to me, no. Not okay.
And you mentioned that that's something that you were discussed. And if someone did mention to you that it's bothersome, I don't like it, please don't do it, then you wouldn't do it. Like,
right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Artie?
Yeah, when it comes to the food thing, I don't mind anyone taking food off of my plate, but I have been rebuffed on many occasions for taking food off of a person's plate. And a lot of times if I do it, it's out of anger. I don't really do it as like, I'm just, because I want to eat what they have and it looks good. A lot of times I'm either frustrated and I like, to me it's more of a passive aggressive thing. Doing it versus actually like doing it because I want to eat it. Like, I still eat it because I took it. When you take it, you got to eat it. You can't just take it and be like,
throw it away.
I'm actually kind of mad, so I'm gonna throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
That's food waste. But sometimes I'll take it and I'm angry, and then other times I'll take it and I forgot to ask. I normally ask. But I normally ask. Sometimes I'll forget to ask because I'll be caught up in a moment and impulse catches in, and I'm like, well, that looks good. Snatch. And then I get fussed at, and then I'm like, well, damn, if the tables were turned, then I do the passive aggressive, the tables were turned, you could take it off of my plate. And that's so passive aggressive, and I try not to do it, but it happens, But yeah, that's pretty much how it would be for me,
But it's good you're aware of it, though. Which
I am.
The one step to improving that is being aware of our shortcomings, right? Yeah.
I've been yeah.
You said you've been working on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on it, yeah.
That's good, Artie. Tipping the waiter, we're very little. We talked about that. Drinking too much, we talked about that. Snapping and whistling at waiters, we talked about that. Oh, using a toothpick at the table. I've seen, like, some of my extended family that we don't really keep in touch with do that. And I actually think that's pretty gross. the picking, using a toothpick, or like doing this at the table.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
So gross. It is really gross. Yeah, it's
It's like-
kind of gross.
If it's something that you would like go to the bathroom to do, like, you know, to put on, like, fix your face,
Yeah.
or like fix your hair, or like toothpick your teeth, like, don't do it at the table.
Yeah, Marin's like, I've totally done that. And I have done it too, but like I cringe at myself when I look back at myself and I'm like, why did I do that? That's disgusting. Do they cover the mouth too sometimes as they do it? I don't know. I don't think so. I've seen the toothpick thing. Corn on the cob nights are an exception.
That's fair.
We don't have those nights. So I totally have cringed to myself too because I try to hide it. Yeah, it's a bad thing. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that.
As someone who had braces for 7 years,
Oh
and
God.
frequently encountered corn on the cob, yeah. That's where it's like, I'm sorry.
But you understand.
Yeah.
In terms of communication, this is a good one. Telling people if they're on speaker.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
like
really...
you mean like if you're talking to them.
Yeah, so like if you and I are on the phone with each other and then I want my parents to listen on our conversation because you want to talk to them, and then I put you on speaker, I should say, Fel, you're on speaker now, by the way, and so is in the room.
Yeah, I always do that. Even when I'm talking to TC, he knows. I'm like, TC, you're on speaker right now. Like, because my mom will come in and like she'll sometimes talk to him.
That is so good. Like those are good manners. Yeah, that's a requirement. And for the longest time, guys, I didn't even think that I had to do that. But I think for the last like few years, or maybe when I started working in the corporate world, I was like, oh shoot, that's actually really important to know. Yeah, it's a very important trait. So I can attest to this. Yeah, Fel's awesome. Yeah, that's a really good thing to do. And we talked about the being honest versus being rude. You can be honest to someone and still convey the message in a polite manner or like a kind manner, I think. Cell phone usage. So Fel was saying how she has an experience with someone where they didn't text back very often or very quickly, but then their phone would always be on them. What I hate is when you're hanging out with someone and they're just always on their phone. I think that's really rude. That's really rude, especially if we're on a date or something, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think are exceptions for being on the phone?
I think if you you have something going on and you tell them ahead of time, I think that's totally fine. If
they communicate with you.
Yeah, if they say like,
Right.
I'm so sorry, I have like some work stuff today. I'm gonna be checking. I have to check my phone throughout this every now and then. That's completely fine to me.
I love that. Like, I love honesty in relationships, and it sucks that it's so hard to find. And I'm not just talking romantic relationships, like just even in friends, like we don't talk to each other enough. We're always in our heads thinking like, but if I say this, then they're going to think this, and it might come off as this and this. Like sometimes we just need to say it and just test the waters and see how it works out with them, because that doesn't come off as rude. That comes out as pretty understanding and pretty considerate of my feelings. If someone says, listen, instead of them saying, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you because I was just trying to deal with it, I didn't think it was actually gonna be that disruptive, I was like trying to hide my phone and check it, then you're looking more sus. Like, just talk about it. Communication is so key. Yes. Talking about why you're using the phone if you have to kind of nullifies the rudeness. Yes. Or like sometimes if I'm out with my friends, my dad is a heart patient. Like he had a triple bypass surgery in 2011. So and if I'm away from home, like an hour away, half an hour away, whatever, I'm always checking my phone because I don't know, God forbid, if there's ever going to be an emergency that I need to be there for. And meanwhile, I just don't have my phone, right? So that's, have I communicated that with? Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have communicated it with my friends, the people that I hang out with, and sometimes I haven't. But I'm also not always on my phone. So
I don't mind at all if people are on their phones. Just like just be respectful. If we're having conversations, then like
Yeah.
don't take out your phone and like do that. But I mean, I understand how things are nowadays. We need our phones.
Yeah.
We do check them all the time, and it's like for anyone who's not sure, like it's okay to ask, like, hey, like I do you mind if I just check my phone real quick?
Yeah.
Even if it's not for work or whatever, like it's fine. It helps when people ask that, and just because it shows that they are considering the situation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
at least ask.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very similar to all the people I know, so might as well be open since we're all going to be understanding and empathetic of one another. Yeah, exactly. Preston says communication and understanding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said it. Sus indeed, Marilyn. Yeah, and then we talked about sarcasm and insults. You know, there's a time and place for a little bit of sarcasm, but I think I've definitely realized I don't like people that are very sarcastic. I think I've realized that about myself, that it's okay if a person's like a little sarcastic or a little jab here and there, but if someone categorizes themselves as like, yeah, my humor is extremely sarcastic, I automatically feel like, why did you say that? Because now I'm going to be so conscious of what you're going to say, and like it's probably going to irritate me because I don't like sarcasm. Like, why did you put a red flag on yourself? You know, it's something that I definitely do look at. I don't like sarcasm. It's to me, it's the same level of passive aggressiveness, because it's like you're not directly saying what you want to say, but you're trying to get a certain point across in a roundabout way. And I don't like that. I used to be that person. I used to be a very passive aggressive person, because when I was growing up, I always had to be like responsible and strong and you know, be like the good kid in the family so that my parents could deal with the other stuff that was happening around us. So I never got to communicate my frustrations and things that I was going through. So that kind of just became embedded in me, like, deal with it by yourself inside, keep everything on the inside. And it damaged me a lot, like for my mental health, my relationships, my friendships. And so I began working on myself to try to become a better communicator. And it's hard. It's still something that I'm working through and I'm dealing with, but I'm really, really trying to. So I don't want to be that passive aggressive person anymore. And overly sarcastic is annoying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, lighthearted and not at the expense of other people. Yes, 100%. Interrupting, when people interrupt each other. I know we all, or like a lot of people will like accidentally do it here and there, but there's some people that like, have you experienced someone who interrupts often and for no reason? Like, there's no reason for you to be talking right now. You can hold on to that thought.
Absolutely.
Yep.
How do you deal with that? Do you guys say, sorry, I'm talking? Or like, do you just quiet up so that they can jump in?
I keep talking and I get louder. And
I think I do that sometimes too.
So I have been in a male dominant field. Like, I'm in a male dominant field right now. And my college was male dominant. My degree, computer science, it's like 90% dudes. That's how I had to learn to deal with it, because I was getting talked over a lot. Bonus points if you stare at the other person while you're getting louder. Just make your eyes really big in a show of dominance.
Oh, like watch them as you do it. Like, I see your lips moving, but I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
That's bold, baby. Oh my God.
I've got a coworker who talks over me all the time, and you can still do it in Zoom. Like, it's not as good of an effect if you're staring at their tiny little picture, but they're like, obviously you don't have to have as thick of a skin as I do for that. You can just say, and I wouldn't apologize for, like, don't say sorry I'm speaking, just say I was speaking, let me finish my thought, and then I'll send it over to you. And like, you can say it in such a way, like, that wasn't real aggressive. There are a lot of ways where you can, like, say, excuse me, I'm going to finish my thought, and then send it back over to you. But you know, some people, if it becomes like, I've been in some meetings where I suspect that I'm getting talked over and having my ideas repeated because I'm a woman in a male dominant field. And in that case, there, like in the business sense, there is a reason to directly talk with this person and being like, hey, I noticed this behavior that you're doing. Do you know that you do that? It's not great. I've had that conversation before.
Wow.
Oh, wow. But also, like, I work in a pretty casual workplace.
Yeah.
So sometimes you may have to go through your supervisor or manager and get, roundabout business methods of fixing it instead of like attacking it head on. So it kind of depends your comfort level and the environment in which it happens, but be assertive.
I think that's something that I'm working on in myself, and that's why I enjoy being in social situations where it's more than one person, because it gives me time to practice that skill that I'm trying to get of, like, it's a skill to know when to interject and when to keep silent, when to raise your hand and make a point, or when to wait till the end and make a point, when it's imperative for your point to be heard at that moment or it won't have the same effect. Like, there's a lot of things to think about in group settings, and I know I'm not where I want to be in dealing with group settings, because I do notice myself, like, sometimes I'll talk over someone and then I'll be like beating myself up in my head, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, I should have waited, I could have waited for 2 seconds, it wasn't that important. But I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when they feel like otherwise they won't be heard. Like Marilyn said, sometimes I do interrupt if I don't feel like I'm gonna be heard any other way, because I can't get a point in, I can't get a word in. So I understand that, and I think the other thing I'm struggling with is how to tell people when they do interrupt me that, like, dude, I was still talking. I still don't quite know.
I deal with that a lot too. That's why I normally, like, when I'm in like big calls, I try to mute myself, because I'll be like, I'm thinking in my head and I'm like, oh, I really want to like expand upon it with you, because I'd be really excited, especially if it's stimulating intellectual conversation. And sometimes I'll get overexcited, and that's what's happening. And so I'll like word vomit, and it's like, I'm not trying to talk over you. I just,
I'm so excited.
Right. I got so excited and so like really fired up about what you said, and it really sparked like something in me, and I'm just like, oh, just like,
just want to let it out. You just want to let it out. You just want to let it out.
Right. And it can be frustrating, because I'm like, I want to hear what you have to say, because what you might have to say might help me with a moment I was having that I didn't know how to deal with. And I don't want to miss that by being too overexcited. So a lot of times what ends up happening for me is that I'll be like, I'm so, like, if someone was like, hey, I was still talking, I'll be like, I'm so sorry. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just got really excited. I'll let you know, transparency. Hey, I got really excited because what you said was like really so like fired me up, and I'm just like, and it's so a lot of times that's what ends up happening. And then I'd rather explain myself than to sit there and not say anything. And then the person's thinking, wow, I can't talk to Artie because Artie won't let me get a word in. Artie just talk, and then I'm saying something, and Artie just and it's no, I don't want you to ever feel that way, like so I'll apologize like 1,000 times, like, and everything. That's just how I am. I'd rather like tell you I'd rather apologize and be like, I got excited, I'm really feeling what you were feeling, like really understanding you. And it's one of those it's one of those I get you moments. Like, oh, I get you,
I want to jump in and contribute.
Right. And it's not to like take away from your point, it's more to like expand upon it and give it more volume, more power, more harmony, so that way it reaches more people. Because that's just how I be feeling about conversations sometimes. I don't know if that's strange or not, but that's just how I be feeling about them. So that's just how I be.
Trying to go through what the interrupting, letting people know that you're late, saying something online that you wouldn't say in real life. We all know those keyboard warriors. We all know those people who say hurtful things online and disrespectful things, inappropriate things online, when actually in person they would never have the guts to say that to you. Oh my god, quit targeting me. Arctic. Overusing foul language. That is something that is very common. You know, F this, be this, ho this, and all that. How do you guys feel about swear words?
I'm a potty mouth. But like I said earlier, it's not like indiscriminate.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to be swearing at the top of my voice around like, you know, like at a coffee shop where there are children and bystanders and things like that. But like around my friends who are at times equally as foul, it's okay. But at the same time, I'm not like every other word. That just gets a little boring, you know. I think at a certain point it's just like you've just stopped learning new words and you're just relying on like offensive or like triggering words to some folks
to fill
like
the space,
right.
to fill the words that you couldn't find a better word for. Right.
And some folks also use them like to get a rise out of other people. And I don't have time for any of that in my life. There's a time and a place. If again, it's the open communication. If people that you're close with are cool with it, great. And maybe keep it to that.
Yeah. I think for me, it's kind of like what Marilyn said. Like, I swear, but I try not to use it incessantly, because then you're just damaging your own vocabulary. You're not coming across as very intelligent. And you're just not putting your best foot forward, in my opinion. And I know I try not to judge people on the way that they speak, but I know I do. And I know that that will affect my relationship with you. Like, if I meet someone and they're just, every other word is a swear word, I don't want to hear that. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't like that. Then I know that even if I'm having a deep, like, thought-provoking conversation with you and you're going to be describing your thoughts like that, like, I don't want to be around that. So I think for me, those manners, that would count as like bad manners if someone is just constantly. But no, we've had conversations though that are normal. Like, you're not always swearing. I think some people think swearing a lot is, some people's idea of swearing a lot is not actually swearing a lot, in my opinion. Right? I think like an F word here or there in a few sentences, like few sentences apart or few paragraphs apart, or like a few times during the night, like, that's not swearing a lot, in my opinion. For me, it gets excessive when it's every sentence has to have a swear word. It does come to a point that I see swearing as a lazy way of communicating. Yeah, when one seems to have no other words in their vocabulary to use. 100%. And it's worse when they're like derogatory terms, or if they're sexist terms. I don't like those, even though they've become very normalized in our society.
I think some swearing like during gaming is fine too.
Yeah,
like a expressive like way. But other than that, if you're like having conversation, then I agree with you. It's like, you don't want to hear that all the time.
Yeah. Or I think if my partner was gaming and someone did a headshot on him and he's like, "You mother effing B, I'm gonna fucking da da da," I think I'd be like, "Whoa, buddy!" Like, I think that would be a little like, "Ooh, chill, bro, my God." I think that'd scare me a little bit, because he's all like sweet and all that, and then he, like, when he games, he turns into somebody else. That would creep me out. I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'll do the dishes. I'll do what you want me to do. Don't swear at me like that. Oh my God, that's scary."
That means you would never date Arctic then.
Arctic, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Arctic. It ain't gonna work out, baby.
Well, in the chat, Burnham just brought up a good point. A big thing he had to learn when he moved to the US was how the tolerance for swearing is several notches lower than in Scotland.
Ooh.
Like, I've started hanging out with Australian people because of Twitch, and the first time I hung out with some Australian folks, I was like, "Oh,
Are you talking about the C word?"
Yes.
Yes, I hear
I
that
I
so
just forget
often.
how prevalent it is in other places. And like for whatever reason, that is like
The
a
word,
big
the go-to word.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the
I don't
go-to
know.
word. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone
I
there
don't
is
like that
serious.
word at all.
Yeah.
I don't like that word at all. I try to avoid it. I may say the F word here or there, as you know, the S word, or you know, dang. Uh, but you know,
That's such a cute thing.
Dang. HE
just
double hockey sticks.
you know, right? You know, and I curse here and there. Like last night I was playing Sea of Thieves, and you know, freaking megalodon. You know, just I was like literally like the second I heard it dun dun dun, I was like effing megalodon. You know,
Yeah,
and because
yeah,
it was like the sixth or seventh freaking megalodon, and I'm
yeah.
just like you know, and when I'm playing games, sometimes I'll curse more versus like just having like a regular conversation, and then sometimes depending on like if I'm rapping something really hard,
Hey.
which is very few and far in between. If I do, if I do, those words are there and stuff. I also try not to use any sort of racial slurs that I see in some music either.
Mm,
I definitely try to avoid. I may hear it in the song, but I won't repeat it if I can
yes.
avoid it. But I know that that's also a part of like that's part of the culture too with that particular thing.
Yeah.
So
That's a
you know,
tricky word
mhm.
because there are some if we're talking about the same word.
I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay. Cuz I think that word is tricky because there's a certain group of people that it was used to target that
Hmm.
have all rights to the word to use them any which way that they want. But I think my view on words in general, that were created to put down anybody or to offensively direct aggression towards somebody applies to that word too. So like I would never use it for multiple reasons, but I think if I was associated with the group that it was created for, I don't think I would use it either because at the bottom it's a negative word. However, I understand that the meaning has changed and now it's used as like a friend. It's basically like my friend, my bro, my person. So that's a tricky word.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up hearing it
Yeah.
personally. I didn't start hearing it until Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was when I heard it. When I
Wow.
heard it, like when I heard it really like used like conversationally. I've only heard it in the derogatory
Oh,
sense, that particular word, but conversationally, I that was the first instance I had heard it in that particular way, and I was
interesting.
like, it kind of like it's like dang, it kind of like changed my mind a little bit. I was like, okay, but I still don't use it. I don't use it. I may slip up every once in a while if I'm like watching a
Yeah, yeah.
show. Boondocks is a prime show that says that all the time.
Heard about that,
And
man.
it's a good show
Mm-hmm.
and everything, but it's more about like well, part not going into the show, but it's just like moments like that where it's like being used in a positive context, or if it's being used as kind of like a pshaw type deal by people, by the people that the term was coined for. It does help. Words have power regardless
Yes,
of their meaning.
yes, yes.
So that's kind of why I don't personally use it, because I'm not that and I never will be, and I
Right.
don't think anyone else really is or should be in that particular sense. But I also understand that if you take the energy and change it to try and make it more empowering, that also is a way to look at it. I don't agree with that, but that's
Yeah.
what I've heard. Personally, I think it's a crap word. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my boy Shug and I agree on that. It's a crap word.
Mm.
Every time I think of that moment where we had to come to, 'cause someone had said it, and he and I both were just appalled by it, and it's just I just certain words I just can't do, like,
Yeah.
and that's one of them for sure.
I think one of
Yeah.
mine is slut because when
Ah.
I know the word is they're trying to like take back power from the word, and there was like a whole march and something in Toronto. I don't know if it was anywhere else in the world, but there was a whole like slut march in
What?
Toronto, yeah, where people were just like, I think there were some like people that were in the nude and stuff, and they were like, we're taking back power from the word, and like, yeah, so we're sluts. Who cares? But it's like, I understand the sentiment behind it, because they're saying like, we don't need to be shamed for being promiscuous, and that's completely fine. I am a huge like advocate for people doing whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting people and all of that. But why would you want to address yourself with a word that was created to shame you? I don't understand why you would want. Why not just say that this is the lifestyle I choose to lead, and that's that. And instead, maybe have the fight of, why are there gender-based words like that, insults like that? Men are promiscuous too, but they're not called sluts. They're called man sluts, which means by definition, slut is feminine. You don't hear man sluts. You hear man whore, or you hear whore, which is a woman who is promiscuous. That should be the fight. I think people sometimes put their energy towards the incorrect fight. Like, that's not the fight. The fight is not taking power away from the world. It should be all the words that are gender-based should probably be fine-tuned and kind of eradicated from people's vocabulary, if it can be. For me, the reappropriation and reclamation of words always seems near impossible to overcome when the roots or origin or etymology of the words will always be there. 100%.
Oh, that's how you say that word? That's awesome.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I'm just making it up.
No. I never knew how to
makes sense.
approach that word. I just never knew how to approach that word at all. I had seen it before, and I was like, I don't know how to say it.
The ETY
but
one?
yes.
I hope I said it right.
You said it right.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
right?
it sounded right to me. I'm like, this helps me say that. I'm really happy.
Oh, I'm so
No, I wasn't.
glad. Etymology. Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yay! And I'm an immigrant. One thing I don't like in relationships is when people don't make introductions. So, like, let's say like me and Artie are hanging out, and like, let's say me and Artie are together, for example, and then Fel comes, right? And then me and Artie are talking, and Fel's just standing there, and I'm not even saying like, oh, you guys don't know each other. Fel, this is Artie, this is Fel, and you're just standing there. I've been in situations where I'm just standing there, and my friends don't even introduce. Well, they're not friends with me anymore. Like, we're not friends anymore, clearly, but that's rude.
Yeah.
That's
I
rude.
agree.
Yeah. Have you ever been in situations like that where and then you have to make the introduction? Oh God.
Yeah. Or you just don't, and then just let it carry on, and then some.
And then at the end, the person's like, wait, who was that? And then you're like, oh, by the way, like an afterthought. No, I normally do intros and stuff. It's it's something I learned in the classes with my grandmother from earlier when I talked.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest things that she said to make sure that we did was to make sure we introduce people, especially when we introduce them to family. Definitely take the time to be like, hey, like if I was introducing you guys to, to my wife, I'd be like, hey, love, this is, Felicity, this is Solo Raven, this is Lee, and that way she would know, and then I'd be like, well, you guys, this is my wife, dun, 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 do that icebreaker, so that way it's not awkward, because a lot of times it gets awkward when you don't do intros.
Yes. So. God. So awkward.
Because you're like, how do I approach this person? You didn't give, especially when it comes to like the respect thing, like what Felicity was saying earlier about how to address someone that's older than you. Definitely, like, especially if someone doesn't know them, they're like, well, how do I refer to them? And a lot of times I'll take that reign and be like, hey, like when I introduce my wife to someone, I'm like, hey, this is Miss this, to show respect, so that when she knows I respect this person, so please, do that, just examples and stuff of different ways of being respectful, mutual respectation between the person and who you're introducing them to,
Yeah, 100%. I'm so sorry, guys. I know I'm over time. Just a couple last things. What do you guys think about PDA? I feel like that's a huge one that I really wanted to discuss.
There are limits.
Yeah, there's limits. Yeah,
There are
like you
limits.
should.
Oh god.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just saw a video on Reddit last week, and it was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna bring this energy into your life, but it was these two like people making out on the subway, and the girl like had her legs up in the guy's lap,
Okay.
and the guy was spanking her with a ruler. On the subway. How do you have that much confidence? How?
Wow.
It's
Oh my god.
it's gonna stay with me for the rest of
I'm
my
so
life.
sorry. I actually
Does the mine have bleach?
I have a similar experience, but that's gonna stick with me too. This is why you don't do PDA, bro. We're like scarred now. We have these images. I was downtown. I was walking behind a couple, and he had his arm around her waist, and then she was wearing like booty shorts or something, and he took his hands on outside of the this is perfect. This is the booty, right? Okay, so he was like holding her waist, right? And then he goes freaking between the cheeks, and he's like rubbing up down here, and like a grab, bro. It's like a grab and lift. Okay, there was a lock, and I was standing right behind that, and I'm like, this can't be happening. Like, I cannot
Is it at
be
home?
witnessing this in front
That's
of me
kinda grody.
downtown. Okay, they didn't care who was watching. If my parents saw me on that street like that, oh my god. No, I don't do that.
That's way worse than the ruler thing, I think.
It was really in there, guys. They were like one step away from like going in the pants or something. Like, it scarred me, bro.
Out on the street.
I just felt like, why aren't you just waiting at home or like going to classroom or something, a private place? Do you have no shame, bro? I don't know, it's weird. You're so right. Slay said, he'll be touching other things.
If you'd want any amount of privacy for something, don't do it in front of other people.
Right.
Like, it's like holding hands, great. Maybe a kiss if you're comfortable
The
with
most
it. The most
kiss I've done is like that, like mwah.
Right.
Like, that's it. It's not like like that. There's not that going on.
I got aggressive fast. Jeez. Got aggressive. Jeez. Oh well.
That's a lot sometimes. Or I'll do like if I'm just like hugging them, like I'll just kiss them on the shoulder, or a kiss on the chest or on the cheek, like on their clothes. Like, I don't just go like chill, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
That
I think people lick each other.
I don't kiss like that, guys. I promise.
How did it go again?
Such an accurate demonstration.
I guarantee you that's going to show up as a clip.
Okay, if we're all walking on a sidewalk, right, and we need to talk to somebody, when people stand in the middle of the sidewalk to check their phone or to like talk to their person, that's, I think, really bad etiquette. No, bad manners.
Yeah.
Manners,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Manners, because we're making other people feel, okay, yeah. I think that's really bad manners. That's really annoying. What do you guys think about the etiquette on escalators?
I think that
Standing on the right, walking on the left.
Yes, I was about to say that.
On
Yeah.
the right, walking on the left. Yeah. And if you're with someone, you stand behind them, not beside them. Yeah.
You stand behind them, not beside them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that way, if people need to walk past you, they can. It makes it easier for passage. And it also, if there's an emergency and the mall security needs to get through, it makes it easier for them to get by, and you don't get knocked over talking about well, you shouldn't have been in the way. You're right. I shouldn't have been in the way. I should have been off to the side.
You're right. I messed up. Guys, do this. This is so annoying. And then you have to be like, excuse me. And then they look at you like, ugh. and then they
My
move to the
favorite when you
side.
my favorite too. Sorry, my favorite too is when like you'll say excuse me because you're trying to walk by, and they're like, "Well, we're almost to the top," and I'm like, "I need to get somewhere, please."
Yeah.
I told the one like I need to use the restroom. The lady was in the way, and she would not move. And I was like, "Ma'am, if you want me to urinate on your shoes." I was like, if you don't want me to urinate on your shoes, please move. I was like, I have to go to the restroom. And she's like, well, we're almost at the top. I was like, ma'am, I cannot hold it. Please let me get past you.
Oh my
And
god.
she was tripping. Then she had mall security. Then she had mall security follow me to the restroom at the time too. And the guy waited outside the restroom, and he's like, this like goes into like some of the harassment I've received. He's like, that was the ladies' restroom, and I was like, I am a lady. I was like, I've been a lady my whole life. And he's like, well, you don't look like a lady. And I was like, ouch. You don't look like a guy then. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Like,
Who
but
said this to
people were
you?
just rude, and it was just ridiculous.
Was it security?
Yeah.
Who said this?
It was
That's
in
super rude.
It was when I was at like a mall in Texas. It's one of the malls here in Texas that I don't go to anymore. But yeah, it's just like people do stuff like that to me like all the time. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, don't be. I'm stronger. I'm stronger than any crazy stuff they could ever say to me. I know who I am, and I don't need their validation. I love me.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I can smile about it now, but at the time I was very upset.
Of course. Yes. That is something to be upset about. That's so upsetting.
But I just think that's kind of rude, Don't assume just because of what the person's clothes are that you know what gender they are. It's just very, just like frustrating when people do stuff like that, and it's like, it's crazy. Like, unless I have my wife with me, I'll get harassed a lot of times if I go to a public restroom. It's very frustrating. So. Well, Lily. Oh my goodness, sorry.
No problem. We talked about poor hygiene. There was a person in the subway who was cutting their nails, guys. Cutting their nails in the subway. And it's like flying all over the place.
Unforgivable.
Disgusting. Entering people's personal space. Skipping urinals apparently is a rule, and I didn't know that. Or like a polite etiquette thing. And I think Habibi and I were talking about this earlier, where we're like, we don't even understand the concept of urinals. Like, why are you guys why does society think that it should be okay, all men should be comfortable urinating in a public space? Because not all men are comfortable with that. Not all men are comfortable whipping out their junk and like having it right there for like anyone to like peek over. It's sort of minimizing their privacy, in my opinion, which is interesting. It's like, oh, women can have privacy, but men, they should be strong. They should be able to handle it. They got nothing to show and worry about whatever. Like, they should be able to just. You gotta have the little walls. Even that though, like if you think about it, you're literally standing and just doing your business. I don't know.
It's weird to me.
It's weird.
It's so weird to me.
It's weird. It's your private business. You should go in the bathroom and do it. Close the door.
There's always that like TV show trope of like, someone like looking over the wall or whatever. And that's just... Sexual harassment of men is used as a comedy trope in TV, and it's
not funny.
Ridiculous. It's not.
Yeah,
it's horrifying.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's happened to people in the past, and they're like, I don't know what to do right now. And then if I call it out, I might look like a wuss, so I'm just not going to say anything. Right? It's terrible. Cutting in line, no. Littering, laughing at other people. Oh, staring. Have you guys experienced people staring at you in public?
Yep.
How do you deal with that? What do you do? Like, or do you just let them stare?
Look away.
Yeah.
I'll let you guess what I do.
You call them out?
I stare back at them. Yeah. I have a lot of practice at this from the gym because I lift weights, and one of the things that's good for the female physique, and a lot of physiques, is hip thrusts.
Yes.
And they're super awkward when you start doing them.
Awkward.
So if anyone like giggles at you or stares at you, you just fucking nail them with your eyes. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
miss.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
You want to come over here?
I think I've recently started doing the stare back method, but before I
Yeah.
would look away. And I've caught myself staring at people too, but I think it's partly because they're just in my line of daydreaming. I just so happen to be looking at them, but I'm not actually looking at them. And the other part is I find people so interesting, so sometimes I am genuinely staring at them, and that's a me problem that I need to fix. But what I was reading online is if you're ever in a situation where someone catches you looking at them and you're not like looking at them in a malicious manner, you're genuinely just like looking at them. Sometimes, oh my God, I see someone super attractive and I'm just like kind of just looking because they just look really nice. And I'm literally just looking, but I don't mean anything by it. Or they're just, again, in my line of sight. They said if you get caught looking at someone, a good way to not make it awkward is to just like hold your gaze, smile, and look away. Because if you look away really quick and like dart your eyes elsewhere, it's like, oh, should I go? God, oh my God, what do I do now? Oh my God. You know, you don't want to be like that. So
Yeah.
I threw.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Right. I didn't know that, so now I know to do that if I ever do get caught. I usually
Yeah, I was gonna say that
usually don't
actually
get caught.
was that a lot of times I'll give a compliment if they catch me staring.
Me too.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, hey, you look nice. That's why I was looking. And they'd be like,
Oh, I don't. Oh shoot, that's bold. That is bold. I'm not at that level yet.
It's well, I have no shame sometimes, you know. So
No,
I'll be like,
that's
hey,
good.
you know, I just tell them, I'll be like, hey, you look good, and that's why I was looking. And the one girl was like, oh, that's so sweet. I needed to hear that today. And then the guys be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'll do that in
Like
general.
a genuine compliment.
Yeah, I'll do that in
Yeah.
general. Like usually if I'm out with my friends, they're just like, that is so weird. Why do you do that? My family's used to it now. Like if I'm just hanging out and I see like a really pretty girl or like a really good looking guy, I'll just not to a guy because I don't want them to like be like, oh hey hi hello you want to go out sometime or something, or for them to be like, oh she hitting on me, I'm so good looking, like chill. So I usually just do it to girls, and if I like their outfit or I think they're beautiful, I'll like observe them for a bit to see if they seem like nice people, because I don't want to also compliment someone who's like full of themselves or like rude. I think it's so attractive when you meet someone who's good looking but they're also just a nice person. So then I'll just be like, oh my God, you look so beautiful, you're so pretty, or like, I really like your dress, you look so pretty in your dress. I'll just say something like that and just hope they don't think I'm a creep, because I don't mean that creepy way. Trust me, I'm straight as hell, and like I'm not looking at you like that. I just genuinely mean that as a compliment. And I feel like I wish more girls were taught to be comfortable complimenting other girls, and you weren't automatically thinking like, oh, are they hitting on me? Oh my God, is that what this is about? And I wish we were like raised to be more more comfortable complimenting each other and receiving compliments, because I know I'm terrible at compliments, like taking compliments. I'm just like, no, but you're great. I'm not. You're wonderful. No, but you. It's really about you. That's why when I see guys complimenting each other, it like warms my heart. Or when they hug each other, I love when guys hug. It makes me so happy. I love that.
Normalize men feeling emotions.
Yes.
Emotions are good.
I love it. I do that too. Oh God, that's awesome. Girls' bathroom compliments are the best. Guys are even worse at it. Yeah, which it's society, because they're taught not to. Because no homo, but you look good. No homo though. That's weird.
Bruh.
I know. Yeah.
I like it when guys hug because it shows like that they're having like a male bonding moment, and it's those are so rare that it's like it's really good to see the human side, because a lot of guys feel like they can't be human, or
they're taught to suppress that.
They gotta
Right,
be
they're-
all macho.
Yes.
right. They can't be like, you know, vulnerable and stuff, and that's wrong, you know.
Yep.
You should be allowed to, you know, show that in some way or form you care, and it's more than just, you know, I'm acting like I care. You can actually like, you know, physically like do an action that also shows it. Simple as hugging or shaking each other's hands. I love it when guys high five. That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because they like do like this. Some of them be really excited and they jump and they're like, yeah, and then you hear like the slap, and then you see them
Yeah.
both fall out, and it's hilarious. Like
Yeah,
it's
cute.
the coolest thing. It's cool. I enjoy it.
Me too. I want to end off with us just giving tips to everybody about manners and etiquettes. Like, if we notice something about someone that we want to help them with, or we notice something in our interactions with people, like, how can we deal with that, or how can we help people have better manners and etiquettes? How can we address that? Because it is an uncomfortable topic sometimes, addressing someone's hygiene or their mannerisms or how they treat people or how they hurt your feelings. So what would you, what do you guys want to like wrap up this session with? Like with any last thoughts? Artie, do you want to start us off?
Sure, I've been giving tips all night. Let's go. Sorry, just see that's me being overly confident. But I would say like I would say like at the end of the day, as long as you remember that life is a complete journey, and that you're constantly learning, and that you're not going to be perfect. It's never going to happen. It's just, can you be the best you that you can be? I think that means that like you'll really do the best job that you can do, you know. And then with hygiene, you know, it could be just it's good if someone takes the time to just tell you, hey, you know, your breath's kind of kicking, you know, or you know, here's some gum, you know, like moments like that. And then you could take the time later and, you know, process it in your own way. But, you know, I think those are good things to like kind of, you know, just let people know. I mean, I try not to be all up in someone's mouth like that, you know, anyway. But, you know, if it's hot, you know, it's hot. It's like fire, you know, just.
And you can say it in private so that they're not embarrassed,
Right.
or
Right.
you're not making a scene out of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to make a spectacle, no, because there's no reason to publicly embarrass anyone, because a lot of times you can do that, and that causes, outside of the situation, deeper repercussions than you may
Yes.
ever know.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's what I try to avoid, is, you know, being like, oh, bruh, you know, like real loud, and, you know, your breath, you know, like I
There's
was
no reason for that, unless you're coming at it from a malicious intent. Like, you're genuinely, you're like, yes, I have something on this person, I can use this to hurt them. But if you genuinely care about them, you should just pull them aside and just tell them that, you know, I care about you as a friend. I think that if this was me, I would want you to tell me. So I'm just letting you know that, you know, maybe try to carry around gum with you because your breath does seem to smell a little bit, and I do care about you. And one thing I saw online that I really liked was, they're like, you could mention all those things and you could end it by saying, do you feel offended? Did anything I say make you feel offended? Because then it conveys to them that you're coming from a place of goodness and you don't want to hurt them. And then if you do, and they say like, yeah, your delivery was kind of like shitty, or like you kind of hurt my feelings, then you can just address it right there and be like, I'm so sorry, I just didn't know how to go about this situation, it's weird, whatever, right? So I love that. Thank you, Artie, for sharing that.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Patience too. Sorry, is another thing. But yeah, because with patience, that means you take the time, like what you just said. You know, is to be like, hey, you know, did I offend you? And then the person takes the time to help reciprocate. So you know. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Artie. How
All
about
right,
you,
thank
Lee?
you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Lee. Sorry, Artie.
No. I was just saying thank you. I was just saying, we was about to get into a loop of thank you, so I'm gonna let Lee talk.
We'll save that for the end. No, you
Right.
hang up.
No, you. No, you.
I've enjoyed this conversation so much, seriously.
Yeah, it was so nice. Oh my god. That's why so much time went by, and I was looking at the time. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I took up so much of your time, guys. Sorry. So sorry.
Nah, this has been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah, my tip for people would be to like, yeah, this is if you're correcting somebody on manners and etiquette, or trying to offer something that they could do differently, it's an uncomfortable conversation no matter what. So it's best if you care about the relationship with this person. Like, at times, I wouldn't care about finger clipping bus man my relationship with him. Like,
Right, it could go tell
are
him.
you serious?
Right.
But say it's a friend, like, you care about that relationship, so you should shape your communication in such a way that leaves both of you feeling good and like asking, or at least not hurt, you know? So asking that, like, are you okay? Did I like do that okay? Is totally reasonable to ask at the end of that, because you can use that to color your future conversations of those types.
Agreed.
So just being like as gentle as possible with folks. Unless they don't get it, then ramp up the directness and
ramp up.
Sometimes you have to.
It's true. Sometimes they're like, oh, so it's about this. You're like, you're not getting it. Let me rephrase.
I'm gonna switch from high context.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But yeah, that's all I would really focus on.
Okay, I like that. Thank you. How about you, Phil?
And yeah, I agree with what both what Artie and Lee said, that it, and what you brought up too. It helps to at the end say like, oh, were you offended by it? It's always it's tough to talk about like uncomfortable things like that. So I think when I've had to talk to others about like uncomfortable things, I actually address that uncomfortability. And in the beginning, I say, hey, like I know this is and kind of not comfortable thing to talk about, but I want to help you. You just tell them that you're there for them and you're just watching out for them. And once you address those, I guess your intention, then they're clear about that. And then you gently say it in a way that isn't gonna hurt them. Yeah. And then you give them a solution or whatever that they can, and just tell them, hey, I'm here for you if you want any help with this. Basically, you want to tell them you want to help them.
I like that. It's just basically letting them know that you're not here to make fun of them. You're not here to make this a huge scene or a spectacle or anything. It's not something that you're now going to run and tell your friends like, oh, so I had this conversation with so-and-so. Did you know that they had really bad breath? Blah, blah, blah. It's more you're trying to keep it private between them. You want to genuinely help them. And I think at the end of the day, you're using the same courtesy that you would want directed towards you. So like if I've been in a situation where I was my sister had this habit of like, she'd be in a conversation with me, but she'd be like looking around a lot, and that was just a habit, and she didn't know she was doing that. So I had to address it with her, and it was so uncomfortable because she's my older sister, and like I feel weird saying like, but you're like hurting my feelings. And then I started thinking about like, am I being unreasonable, that like should I just like let her do her thing? But it was bothering me, so I brought it up with her, and I really tried to make sure that I wasn't hurting her feelings. And I asked her at the end, I was just like, did I say that okay? Because I don't know how to go about this conversation. And it seemed like she was okay with it, but then she does have very thick skin, so I don't know if the same method would work with someone else. I'll just have to, I guess, be in a situation like that again. But I know there have been situations where someone had to address it to me that I was doing something that was hurting them. And I think your initial I think what we should work on is not having the initial response of being defensive and like justifying our behavior. Well, I was doing that because blah 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 blah. Like, it's not about that. Like, someone is saying that you hurt them, and I think the best way to go about it, if it's reasonable, of course. Like, some people are just trying to pick at things when it's really not your responsibility to like cater to their feelings and all of that. And sometimes people try to like make drama. So we're talking about normal situations where you genuinely hurt someone and they're genuinely trying to address it with you. And then I think just trying not to be defensive is like something that I would give as a tip. Like, it's not about justifying your behavior, it's the fact that your behavior hurts someone and we're trying to become better. So it's hard because I know like you want to justify why you did what you did, and you want to let them know that I wasn't trying to hurt you, I just did it because this and this and this. But at the end of the day, you did hurt someone and now you're trying to remedy it. So Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much for such an amazing conversation. Like, the time flew. It didn't feel like 3.5 hours that I was with you guys, 3 hours and 45 minutes. So thank you so much for making me part of your day and your night. I appreciate it. It's been so nice. So nice. I'm gonna actually say goodbye to you properly offline. Thank you everyone for being here. I'll be back in like 5 minutes after I say goodbye to everyone off stream. If I see you, great. Thank you for being here. If I don't, I hope you have a damn scrumptious night, and take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Go easy on yourself. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys very soon. Do you want to say bye to everyone?
Bye,
everyone.
Yay.
And thank you, Solar Raven.
Yay, thank
Alright,
you.
yeah.
And thanks to everyone in the chat as well.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Solo. Appreciate you having us tonight. Really do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be back, guys. Bye. Guys, please come by, even if it's for like 2 seconds, to spread that good lovin'. We are going to be rating Seaside Sings, and I'm wishing your heart and your mind and your soul and your spirit and your body peace and happiness. Thank you so much once again for spending your precious time with me, with the scrumptious guests, with providing your wisdom and your input and opinions into the chat. I very much appreciate it. It's always such a pleasure having these talks, and it's so amazing seeing people get invested and involved and like contributing to the conversation. It makes me really happy. So thank you guys for making my night. I will use this energy to try to get through the work week that is coming up for me starting tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Be kind to yourselves and others, and be safe. Okay, take care, and Raven out. Oh, and a huge shout out to the mods for being here and handling all the commands and making sure this is a safe and positive space for us. Thank you guys. Take care. Stay scrumptious. Good night.